everyone, and welcome to another Tinfoil Tuesday. How's everyone doing? Hope you're having an alright week, all things considered. Goddamn, my hair is dry as a desert. How's everyone doing? Hope you're having a good one so far. Again, all things considered. Ashley, thanks for the 27 months, says, you don't pay child support, but I keep coming back. This, sub-baby's name is, Gregory Shamblin. Benekagami says, hey Hannah, how's existing despite presidential decree? Hopefully better than me. My whole house is sick with the flu. I'm on the mend, but everyone else is awful. On top of that, it's in the teens here. Yeah, it's very cold here too. Not doing great. Hey Trey, how's it going? So yeah, let's just get into it. We're just doing a bunch of tinfoil today. You know how it is. If you want to help support the stream, do me a favor. Bits, gift subs, subscriptions, and whatever always help. Oh, this didn't turn out right. This is supposed to say costume month / puppet stream, but it got squished. I'll fix it later. Let's just get into it. Oh, who are we gonna do? We'll do a montage of channelers. How about that? That's fine. Here's a montage of people claiming to channel aliens.
So I just wanted to give you all channeling from the creators about all that's happening and what we can do about it. Okay, so here we go. Yes! Yes! Yes!
Believes they speak to aliens on the bingo card. Pandanus Rex, thanks for 20 months, says happy tinfoil day. Back at ya. This is part of a montage. I want this guy's name. Who is this man?
We are here for you. We are the creators. We are a 12th dimensional collective of non-physical entities who you might experience as pure consciousness.
Dimensions beyond our own. They said they're 12th dimensional beings.
We are the creators, and we love you very much. Okay, everybody, there it is.
Next, we...
Yeah, that made total sense. Have we covered the Scentbird CEO on tinfoil? We have not.
You're introduced to a woman
Who's that?
who channels a spirit, calling itself Leah.
Hello, Philip. How are you today?
Where are you from?
I'm from Venus.
Now the interviewer asks the woman to exchange spirits and to channel another spirit that calls itself the Tibetan.
I am the Tibetan, and I have come during this time continuum to discuss with you the idea of the only question in the universe.
Oh no, it appears that I too have summoned the Tibetan. I also talk like this, and it's not silly at all. Certainly this is me channeling a spirit and not just doing a funny voice.
That question is, what is? And the answer is, I am. That is all. I relinquish control to the entity, Leah. There will be a race on this planet and throughout all galaxies. And the name of that race will be peace.
Hello, everybody.
That meant nothing, but I appreciate her. I appreciate the voice.
I think somebody wants to come through today, so they were knocking on my head while I was driving, which was not okay.
Oh, she shouldn't be driving. That's not good.
Anyway, so I'm gonna give it a try today.
I was gonna say, say, it was Space Descartes. It's an alien race that somehow thinks that I think, therefore I am is a new concept to humans. Thanks, Jubilee Helix, for the link. New channel to check out. I'm not sure. What is it? Perhaps. I'll take a look at him. Sheba Hawk, thanks for 39 months, says that chair and camera setup sure was a choice. Captain Descartes of the USS Philosophy.
As an introduction, we are the Arcturians with you today. Music is an elixir of sorts.
This is Lisette. I would like to say good morning to all you all. I am helping a fairy to bring in another group at this time. Hold on, please. But she needs my lightness of being to help with the shift.
We are the Arcturians here with you today.
Puka, thanks for 300 bits and kicking off a hype train. Kariko59, thank you for 21 months. We are on a hype train. If you want to help the hype train, you can always gift subs, subscribe yourself, or do bits. I know Nemasaur's not here, so we're on our own. Yeah, if you're on YouTube, if you could do me a favor and like the stream.
The spiraling of your energetic system is to help activate certain strands of your DNA. We need to leave now as our vessel's pain level is skyrocketing, so we need to let her be.
I'm looking forward to watching what just happened, since I only heard some of it. But what I heard was pretty cool.
We can do word salad. I think that's appropriate. Ultimate Undying with 100 bits says, I'm doing my bit. Thank you.
We'll be channeling Bashar, who is a consciousness from another time and space, so I'm very excited about that. So you've been channeling for Bashar for
24 years.
24 years.
Why are they never the same kind of alien species? Sometimes they are. There are sort of like 5 or so like canon alien species, so to speak, amongst sort of crackpots. There's the Arcturians, there's the Nordics, there's the Reptilians. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head. The Pleiadians. But like they do have specific alien species that they sort of collectively have decided are the canon species.
I'll say good day to you this day of your time. How are you?
Very good. Thank you so much for being here.
It is our pleasure always to co-create these transmissions with each and every one of you. We will extend to you at this timing our deepest appreciation for the co-creation of this link, and we bid each and every one of you, individually and all of you together collectively, a fond, exciting, passionate, and creative good day.
Thank you, Bashar. Good.
How did it go?
Thank you. How are you? It was beautiful.
I'm fine, just I'm waking up.
No, and you're fine, right?
Oh yeah, when I kind of wake up, I'll be like waking up from a nap.
Right.
Sanda talking with you. Hello. Sanda talking with you now. Greetings, my friend. Welcome to you. Do you mind if we speak to you for a few moments? We will reacclimatize. We are not used to this atmosphere. Poishnaka, sa. Nidan sova. Better now. It is better now.
Minute left on the hype train.
Everyone, namaste. I have been...
I'm gonna skip over that one. They look pretty young.
This is a Monday night channeling. I am Mother Earth. Yes. Yes, my oceans are plagued with sickness. I am ill because of that.
This is what some people do with their free time. You want to know what's even weirder? There are people who even watch them, ironically, wearing stupid costumes. Fucking losers. Humiliated Grapes, thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs and getting us over level 2 of the hype train.
I am one you called. I am a female Bigfoot.
He's a female Bigfoot?
Yes, you should all go outside and hug a tree. Hug nature.
I'm just going to go into the channeling state and let whatever happens happen.
This thing is fucking me up.
Yes, we would like to be referred to as the word in your language. Inkada.
Inkada!
There are a number of things that have happened.
Does chat's lack of costumes make it better or worse? Wait. Chat, have you not all been wearing costumes during costume month? I thought it was clearly implied that you were all supposed to be wearing costumes too. I'm the only one here in a costume? I feel like a fool.
And several more things will happen. Yes, that is all. Okay, I guess they're done talking.
So we want you to sit back and to enjoy this Galactic Monthly channeling. We will connect you in one moment to entities from a star that most of you call Vega. One moment we will connect you.
So do these people think that they're channeling, or is it pure grift? It depends on the person. Some of them are probably genuinely delusional. Some of them are doing a grift.
We are from that star that you call Vega. Many humans throughout your history have called us vegans.
Just a Peach asks, do PJs count? I'll count it, that's fine.
We know this has a dualistic meaning for you, and many joke of the voice that links the two kinds together.
Now, my name is Hedron. It is a very simple name, but the name means nothing compared
Schifazoa says I'm wearing a costume, but only people who aren't fools can see it.
to my feelings about you. We are bringing
Schifazoa's new clothes
forward one of the entities that represents the Sasquatch energy. One moment.
Why do so many people think aliens are British? Did Star Wars do this? Did Star Wars make everyone think aliens are British? Genuine question.
Connect to. So here it is. Here it is. The story of who. The story of why.
Oh, that feels better.
The story of how. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, skunk ape.
Yes, wonderful to have this opportunity to interact with you in this way once again as well. The Yahyel are hybrid children of Earth humans and understand in that way. We think of you certainly as parents. We then are of another planetary location, and in that we actually have an origination of more than one planet. There are in that sense two planets, but we share Earth human DNA. We are of another planetary
left on the hype train.
location. 2, in fact, as I already mentioned.
Skunk Ape is like Bigfoot, but he stinks. Sure, Baha.
My dear, what we have here is simply unison between man and spirit, heart and head, and mind and body. And understand that you are no different than your father, your mother, your sister, your aunt, the baby that screams at the well for running water, or the aunt who crawls along the monastery knowing that the monks will not step on it. And we come to you on
I think she overestimates the awareness of an ant.
bended knee, saying thank you.
Thanks for the hype train, everyone.
I'd like to tell you that I'm very happy that you're here. We're very happy to be here.
She greets an audience like this one in Denver, and then she leaves.
Amber got the memo.
Changes her hair and her clothes, comes back, and goes into a trance. And finally, after several minutes, this 40-year-old woman says she has turned into a 35,000-year-old man.
Indeed.
The voice seems different, the face seems different. Supposedly she is now a he, Ramtha, or the Ram, as his followers call him. Now the story goes that Ramtha lived in the lost land of Atlantis, where he was a great warrior.
Ooh, Atlantis on the bingo card. That's a pretty rare one.
And I was the biggest bastard of them all. For I was the great conqueror, the Ram, that meant the god.
Thank you.
And I slaughtered and hacked because I was a barbarian that was filled with anger and ignorance. Who needs to be worshipped? Indeed, you do. And who needs to save your hide? You do.
How much did people pay for this
and
crap?
Indeed, who can answer your prayers? You do.
That may not sound especially profound, but true believers flock to hear it at $400 apiece. It's $1,500 for weekend retreats. There are often so many people, the Ramtha organization can earn up to $200,000 for a single appearance.
Well, I'll drink to that.
Thank you. Oh boy, so that was a lot. Okay, let's see what's next, shall we? Watch the fairy thing.
The official story is that New Zealand was uninhabited until 800 years ago. The oral tradition, however, of the Maori tribes, the indigenous Polynesians that live in New Zealand, tell of legendary blonde fairy people living in hobbit-like burrows and red-haired giants that also roamed these islands in ancient times.
Giants on the bingo card. Also, I just gotta say this. Sorry about how... Nope, shut up. Shut up, Hannah. Shut up.
So, who are these blonde and red-headed populations that are described in these myths? And what happened to them?
Is this gonna get racist? This is by Robert Seffer, who is a white nationalist conspiracy theorist, so it's probably gonna get racist.
The well-known Kiwi legends speak of a time when the first canoes arrived, only to find that there were already a race of blonde-haired fairies that lived in the forest and were called Patupari. Now, the Maori respected these little people who were very elusive, rarely seen, but they could hear them giggling and chuckling at night and rowing their small wakas, which are basically like canoes. And their skin color was described as light or pale, their hair was light, and they were sometimes seen on the slopes of the misty mountains, from which they would come down to the sea to fish. This would usually take place in the evening or late at night when it was dark or very misty, and as the legend says, one early morning, one of the Maori were said to have witnessed blonde people fishing, and they were presumably startled and they took off, but they left behind one of their nets, which from then on was used by the Maori themselves, who attributed this method of fishing technology to these blonde fairies. They also
So if you can't tell what's going on here, he's basically trying to imply that the Maori, like, got their fishing from white people, that magic white people showed up and taught them how to fish.
Learn from them how to make a type of musical
Racist disbelief of historical achievements on the bingo card.
instrument, a flute that they carved. And they were considered to be a sort of mystical and magical people, similar to the Fae of European legend. And upon occasion, they would play their flute and lure away or enchant a woman, and she would never be seen from again. There's another legendary race of fair-skinned people from New Zealand with golden hair, and they were agriculturalists that carved out amphitheaters. And these people were said to be tall, had very white skin, and were likely the origin of the famous cultural tattoos that we see.
Fully facial tattoo.
Oh, he's trying to claim that secret white giants gave the Maori people their tattoos. Oh, that's a lot.
Which was only for the ones of high rank. People think everyone got tattoos in the old days. They're wrong. 5 to 10% at the most. You had to be something to deserve.
No, that's not
especially a
AI,
facial
I don't think.
Tattoo. The people that were basically here before we got here. Okay? Well known to be, tall, fair-skinned, definitely not little fairies. They're still around. They're all still blonde. Were these people real or not? They were. We've got a family, who descend from them.
There are modern blonde populations in New Zealand called the Waka Blondes, and they're Maori, but have a distinct different lineage than the rest of the Polynesian people.
We've got people in New Zealand who were once described as the Waka Blondes. A lot of them actually have very traceable whakapapa that's much, much older than any of the Polynesian Maori whakapapa, and they know where they came from. I know one individual, an old kuia, a very dignified lady, who claims to come out of Persia. And the area that she's talking about, very close to India. And when we did DNA analysis on this lady, it shows a high incidence of her blood group or her DNA in the Persian area, so she's quite correct. But then the second big block, if you like, of people that share her DNA are found in Peru.
This is very interesting, as it concurs almost exactly with a Maori legend recorded over 100 years ago by ethnologist Elsden Best.
I'm... Someone working in the 1800s as an ethnologist? Yeah, that's bad vibes, man. That's bad vibes. I gotta fix my hair. This is all sorts of fucked. Green Guy with a $3 tip. Also, Green Guy, I did change this to say puppet stream, but it fucked up. I'll fix it later. But this is a puppet goal. Green Guy says, watching a video with Hannah and think, this guy gonna be racist? Yes. Any day, yes. It seems like people whom are chuds, Suave, Civ, and people who believe in conspiracy theories are also racist. It's like they're all also undereducated. Hats off, Baja. What's the hats off for? Different tinfoil hat? Maybe. I'm having trouble with the horns today. It's out of season, but this'll work for now. Because I am fucking around with that hat too much. There. I look completely rational. This doesn't look crazy. I look fine.
When he was living amongst the Tuhoi people.
Yeah, I mispronounced a thing. I'm doing my best.
The legend tells us that their ancestors in times long passed away, 165 generations or around 3,500 years ago, migrated from a hot country named India. The cause of this exodus was a disastrous war with the dark-skinned folk in which great numbers were slain. This war was recorded in the Indian epic known as the Mahabharata. The legend continues on to describe their voyages, which eventually took them into
Undying says tinfoil wizard. Maybe I need a tinfoil wizard hat. Witch hat.
Polynesia. They crossed the oceans to Tafiti-Roa, a long, skinny land.
Amber says ethnology is the part of anthropology that makes comparative observations of culture, not to be confused with ethnography, which writes about specific culture. Thank you.
Believed to be Central America, and then on to Tafiti Nui, a very large land, South America. And from there, they ventured into the scattered isles of the Pacific. This Tuhoi story describes a very different history to the one that asserts that the Polynesians came from Taiwan, and it could even turn Pacific.
Where's the video he's showing coming from? No idea. I have no idea what's, like, correct or incorrect. That's actually a fair point. I didn't have the credentials to talk about that, because something's gonna slip by me. I'll move on to a different video. I'll save that for a time we have Amber or someone else with a historical knowledge on. Okay, what are we doing next? Ooh, this is going to an alien temple.
Hey guys, today we're going into a temple, but this is not an ancient temple. This is a brand new temple. In fact, this temple is just being built. Now, if you watch my channel, you know that I never show any new temples. I always show ancient temples. But why am I going to this brand new temple? Because this marks a turning point in human history. So let's go inside and see what's inside this temple. Now, as you can see, this temple is built underground. This is the ground level, but this temple is built underground with a very small entryway. You literally have to crawl into it. And it's built underground. Why? Is it because the Nagas live underground? We don't know. But what is inside? Oh, wow. Wow. Can you believe that?
I mean, like, it's an alien statue. I can believe it. I don't know what you mean.
Wow. Can you believe that? It's an alien. And this is not any alien. This type of an alien is called a gray alien. This is what they reportedly saw at Roswell. This is why they call them Roswell Grays in the US.
I'm sorry, did they claim to see gray aliens at Roswell? I know that the whole Roswell incident, like they purportedly found a crashed craft that turned out to be like equipment or whatever, but they were fine continuing the alien story because it was a decent cover-up for the actual thing. Were there people that claimed to have seen aliens?
These are also called Zeta reticulans, and this is the most common variety of aliens.
Breaches and Hose says, I love making witch hats for people. I would just need to know the circumference of your head. Big! I have a giant head. It's a problem. I'm dysphoric about the size of my head. It's not a joke.
It's spotted by humans. And here it looks...
I don't know the circumference of my head off the top of my head. I'll have to get that measured.
Perfectly like a gray alien. But there is a secret symbol here. Can you tell me what this is? Yes. This is a UFO. The symbol of a flying saucer carved on its stomach. And you can see, this is almost my height. This is about 6 feet tall. Now, why would somebody carve a gray alien and actually worship it as a god? So
I don't know, people do weird stuff all the time. What are you talking about? William Shakespeare, thanks for 24 months, says these simpletons don't understand art styles. Thanks for your 2nd anniversary.
You can see that this alien statue is about 6 feet tall. It has large eyes. You can see this mark. That means that people are actually putting the dots on its forehead.
The airbase had 3 to 5, quote, whistleblowers. They gave bullet points to leak. Ah, I see. That's funny.
Now, you could have seen something very interesting that just happened in the middle of the filming. A family came in, a child and 3 adults, and they came in and they worshipped the alien like any other Hindu god. They were here, they worshipped the alien, they prayed for the aliens. It's really amazing, and they did all the rituals they would normally do for any other Hindu statue, and this is remarkable that this is happening in India right now. Now, let's continue with what we are seeing in the statue. Like I told you, that this is a 6-foot-tall statue, and you can see the neck. The neck resembles the naga, or a reptile. Looks like
I don't understand why he's acting as though this statue is a mystery. Like, it's kind of interesting, but it's pretty clear that it's like a contemporary statue that someone made. Like, what's the mystery here? I don't understand. He's claiming it's an extraterrestrial. Yes, it's a statue of an extraterrestrial. Overthought says, that reminds me, when I worked at McDonald's in college, I had a coworker who had no social filter. One day I was in the grill and I took off my hat to wipe some sweat away and he just yells for all to hear, "Wow, you got a big forehead." Thanks, Bryce. I feel your pain, Hannah. Thanks.
Cobra's neck, and you can see the UFO here. The UFO symbol is embedded on its stomach, and you can see the navel of the alien. It's not round. The belly button is round for humans, but for the alien, it's shown as a line. And we don't know the gender of this alien. We don't know if this is a male or female. Just seems flat. And surprisingly, the gray alien is not wearing any boots. It's shown bare feet.
I don't know if that's Dice laughter. I'm fully composed.
The person who has built this says there are many secret symbols hidden in the statue.
Couldn't it also just be a statue of something else that looks similar to an alien? Yeah. I don't even think this is supposed to be an alien. I think he's making weird judgments about it.
Okay, and you can see many other symbols here. You can see a symbol here. You can see a symbol here. You can see a lot of other symbols inside. And what does the builder say about how he envisioned this alien? This is the answer. This is sage Agastya. Agastya is mentioned in ancient Hindu texts even more than 2,000 years ago. He was a saint, and the builder of this temple says Saint Agastya has written and communicated with him to build that gray alien. So let's take a look at the statue of this Agastya. Normally, Agastya will be shown standing, but here Agastya is shown flying. Now Agastya is shown flying in this position, and you can see
thanks
that
for following.
He's flying, but on his chest, you can see this lingam. There's, again, a strange...
He could just ask the family what the god represents, right? He doesn't want to ask what the god represents. He wants to make ridiculous claims about aliens. Hydrate, can do.
Detail about this lingam. It has 2 spouts. It has two spouts. No lingam has 2 spouts. And here you can see his pot underneath, and you can see the wand that he wears. And he's shown flying. And the builder says The flying Agastya told him to create the great alien statue. Now, the person who has built this temple says that he has built the statue of the alien with full permission. Full permission from who? From the aliens themselves. He says the aliens came in UFOs and hovered over this place at least twice and gave him permission to create the statue like this. Now, how do we make sense of this? Remember,
it kind of just seems like someone had some sort of dream and then they took it very seriously and made a statue. It would be far from the first time a human had a hallucination or a dream or a night terror or any kind of weird experience and determines that it's supernatural or paranormal and decides to make a statue or something and give it spiritual significance. That's a thing people do all the time. Like, that's a pretty common human thing.
At the beginning, I said that this temple marks a turning point in history. Because in human history, this is the very first time humans have carved an alien and are worshipping the alien statue.
I don't think I'd agree with that statement. What are you talking about? There have been cults that have, like, had a focus on aliens before? What are you talking about? Ugh. Your work's remote again tomorrow because of cold? Dang.
Is it really the first time? Did this happen many thousands of years ago in India? Did gods come from the sky? And did humans...
Robert on YouTube says the symbol on the chest is probably a yoni. If this guy is Hindu, he's being intentionally dishonest. He should know what a yoni is. People being dishonest on the internet for views? That's crazy. No one ever does that.
To witness the gods. And did the gods help them? And when they left, did the humans make statues of gods, of Shiva, Vishnu, and started worshipping in hopes of getting them back to the earth? This is called the ancient astronaut theory. Because if humans were living in caves and if extraterrestrials came from the sky, they would appear as gods to us and we would worship
Surprise,
them.
Jareth!
This is exactly what we are seeing here. Is this history or is this history repeating itself? And this is very interesting because it just seems like it does not make any sense at face value. But if you really think about it, South India?
I feel like it could have been filmed with one camera. He probably has two cameras for editing purposes. It makes it a lot easier to edit out mistakes because you can cut between cameras and it doesn't become as obvious that you had to edit something out because it's not a jump cut anymore.
Is the place
getting more coverage is better, generally.
Where there is a very...
Did you miss anything good? You missed some channeling, Nemesaur. Hope your appointment went well.
Very less gravity in all of the planet. And this would be surprising to you. A lot of you would think, what is Praveen talking about? This is planet Earth. Gravity would be the same everywhere. But no, if you look at the gravity map of the world, South India is a place where there is very less gravity. Is this why this temple is being built here? And is this why he's claiming a lot of UFOs are visiting the site? Now, what is really bizarre is that the builder is saying that if you worship Agastya and this gray alien and perform rituals, your dreams and wishes will come true.
What if my dream is to not have people on the internet lie about shit for clicks? Will that come true? Or is that too much even for the aliens to accomplish? Take a look at the bingo card real quick. Bill Kale says a healthcare webinar is more exciting than this guy. We're moving on. It's fine. Let's see. We have... Believes they speak to aliens regularly for the channeling stuff at the beginning. Incorrectly believes evidence is self-evident for all the alien stuff that guy was just talking about. Like, I don't know what he even thought was convincing. Giants. Word salad. Aliens did it. Did we have satanic yet? Not sure if we did. Dimension beyond our own. Thank you, Halloween Town. Yeah, poor understanding of Eastern philosophy, religion. We did have Atlantis. We had surprisingly had an Atlantis today. I don't think we had reptilians, did we? I don't think so. Could be wrong, though. I don't recall it coming up. At least not yet. Recording in car? Wait, who was recording in a car? Oh yeah, he did earlier. He was on his way to the place, but that counts. That counts. Oh yeah, racist disbelief of historical achievements. We had the guy hissing like a snake. I don't know. That's a stretch. That's a stretch. Cites a defunct source? Who cited a defunct source? Like, I know he claimed things, but... Did you miss CC? No, there's no CC today. No video said reptilians. Hannah just mentioned it. Gotcha, okay. I think that's it then. How about Roger? How's Roger over at Mud Fossil University been doing? I think he's just going to complain more for about 8 minutes about how no one in the academic community takes him seriously. Because of course they don't.
Okay, my friends, my question to you is, how far would you go to protect the ones you love? Specifically, let's start with your children, because this is what's going on here. This, oops, there goes a gigantic hair follicle. Hold on a second. This is the hair follicle, just fell on the floor. Does your make a sound like that when it drops? I don't think so. That's the muscle attachment. That's just...
So if you're not familiar with Roger, we've covered him before. He's a crackpot. I think he's a former engineer who now believes that since he's retired, he's spent the last 20 years developing crackpot theories, hypotheses about geology, physics, astronomy, biology, all sorts of, like, different fields that he claims are intersecting because he thinks the planet is made of dead giants that have been petrified. He's salty that the academic community doesn't take him seriously.
Sebaceous gland, that's the hair shaft coming out, that's the root, there's the hair papilla.
So basically he'll look at rocks and he thinks they're the bodies or body parts of giants or other animals.
Get an artery, vein, 2 inches wide. That's a pretty good sized creature. Now, I presented all my evidence to Yale University, and I see them in a very unfavorable light. Now, let's just...
Oh no, I'm sure that hurts Yale deeply that Roger doesn't like them.
Discuss how that
Roger develops notions and formulates unsound conclusions, not even hypotheses. That's fair. That's true. Hypothesis implies he knows that it's speculative and requires, like, attempts at falsification. He doesn't think that about the things he believes. He thinks they are conclusory. True.
He weaves with a snake and a squirrel, and the squirrel's children. Okay, my friends, this is just out of the blue. Showed up this morning, and I can use this exactly as they're showing it. A brave squirrel faces off with a snake for its beloved. What would you do for your children? This snake was trying to kill its baby. Brave squirrel fights and takes down a snake. And this is very interesting. And what does it have to do with me? A lot. Because I am in a fight with a snake too. So you can call me Roger the Squirrel. Okay, so what does
nice of Roger to come out as a furry today.
The snake and a squirrel have to do with me? Well, I am the squirrel, and the snake is Yale University. So, do I let them devour your children and your eternity and your life and the life?
In this metaphor, is the baby squirrel your pet theories?
Of all the people they affect, or will I step up and attack? I'm attacking. You know, I watched Trump. He is an aspiring guy. I saw him.
I didn't know he was going to bring this up. I apologize.
When he stood, he said, "We never back down. We'll never surrender. We'll never give in. We will."
Isn't it weird that like all of the crackpots we watch are pro-Trump? Weird.
And
it's almost like there's some kind of correlation between having a bad brain and liking that guy.
Fight and fight until we win, and that's what's going to happen. And this is what the squirrel did. You don't have to be big. You don't have to be tough. You just have to stand up and do the right thing. Okay, I'm not going to go through the whole story about Yale, but you know that I submitted all my mud fossils to the DNA, CAT scans, and all that, and it was a disaster. And then they basically took credit for my work, and was funded by.
I don't even understand. He's been making this claim lately. If I wanted to look at it more cynically, or I guess just like make blatant claims about what I think is happening, I feel like he used to claim just that no one took him seriously, but now he's starting to claim that not only did they not take him seriously, actually, behind his back, they stole his work. Now, I don't know if this is some sort of like mental defense mechanism, because he spent 20 years trying to get actual scientists to look at his nonsense, and they've all said no, for obvious reason. He's not doing science. He's just like doing random nonsense on the internet. So I'm wondering if as a mental defense mechanism, he's almost had to convince himself that, like, I haven't wasted 20 years of my life doing nonsense. They've stolen my work. Because it's better to have your work stolen than not taken seriously at all. Does that make sense? Like, what's worse? Having your work after 20 years turns out it was all worthless and you wasted your time? Or it was all right and it was stolen? I think most people would say stolen is better because at least it sees the light of day, you know? Feel like it's more devastating to your ego to recognize you've been doing nothing for 20 years. Italian Shakespeare, thanks for a 3-stream streak, says, for no reason can I get a fuck Nazis? Fuck Nazis!
NASA gave them money, because I went to NASA too and told them, I said, we got mud fossils everywhere. So my point is that I see Yale as basically this snake, and they deny reality, and as far as I'm concerned, they've taken my research and got it funded by the government, which I see that as all kinds of problems here. And they know that I was right about it because they said, yes, exceptional preservation of soft-bodied creatures. Oh, but they won't talk about these kind of creatures. This is exceptional preservation of a foot.
You've been shooting Nazis in Wolfenstein 3D. I've been playing the new Indiana Jones game a lot recently. You get to beat Nazis in the face with fists and blunt objects. Pretty satisfying.
Exceptional preservation of my buddy Caesar, or Goose. I call him Caesar Augustus. See his feathers?
Points for a funny name.
Everything died flat in the flood like this.
Gina's a sweet, slightly scrambled old lady. No, Gina's a Trump supporter. I mean, she's also a scrambled old lady. But she's a Trump supporter, for those that don't know.
This is DNA tested, CAT scanned, everything. Drilled a hole down inside, so I got down into where the DNA is. I don't scrub the surface and just hope.
Alonzi, thanks for following.
DNA, and this came back as excellent quality.
She's an anti-Semite and has been gone into QAnon lately. Has she really? Jesus Christ, Gina. I had so much hope for her at one point. I really did.
It was done with PCR testing, and I presented this to Yale as well, and they just said, "Oh, you must have done something wrong," and blah 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 blah. And I had 7 CAT scans. I have all kinds of stuff, and I just showed you. I think I just showed you this hair follicle. Oh, the damn thing is 2 inches wide. This is what freaked them out, and then they became fiduciary failures to their students because they're supposed to be working in their best interest. I don't think that was their best interest.
Again, I don't know what he thinks fiduciary duty means in that context. That's not what it means. A fiduciary duty is something you have, like, to investors? That's not what you would describe. To be fair, I know what he's trying to say. He's trying to say they're ripping off the students because the students are paying money and they're not getting the education they need. He thinks they need the education that includes his bullshit. But that's not a fiduciary duty.
Derek Briggs, who I presented it to, ended up taking credit for that.
Apparently he tried to contact Dr. Schweitzer, the scientist who discovered blood-like stuff in dinosaur fossils. He told him never to contact her ever again. Yeah. Unfortunately, crackpots apparently contact scientists a lot to try and push their bullshit. They get upset when they're not taken seriously.
As a Yale project, and Lydia Tarhand as well. They named a lab after her, which is done nothing more than my research. And I sent all this, and I protested to the President Salvo and all of them. They know who I am, trust me. They know very well. So
I mean, they probably know who you are, but it's more along the lines of that stalker guy with the weird beliefs. Not Roger, genius, we're secretly stealing from. But whatever.
This is how I see Yale, as the snake. Now, I want to save your children. I want to save them from being mental-sided, which means that their mind is just destroyed, and there is no way out of it. You can't escape. If you want to be considered successful and be able to go out and say, I went to Yale, I went to Harvard, I went to this one and that one, and they say, we should hire that guy because he must be.
I might have actually seen that mishire. Let me take a look. Yeah, if we may have seen this video when he's like, Alexander the Great isn't gay, he wouldn't have known what it meant, and it's like, I don't think you understand what people are claiming with that? Oh. He just has a lot of weird stuff. Homosexuals are feminine males, so they should look like girls, is the name of this video. Again, the title of this video... Sorry. The title of this video is Homosexuals are feminine males, so they should look like girls.
What's living in the Philippines here. I'm going to talk today about homosexuality and what homosexuals should do and look like. But before we get there, please remember to subscribe and please join my Patreon.
Okay, I'll save this. We gotta finish Roger's thing, but we will come back to that.
Be smart. No, he's towing the company line. He has no ability to think for himself. Now, if you hire him because he's a programmer or he's something other than this, you know, like the guy I dealt with was Derek Briggs, and he's still touting his discoveries of this Edicara biota, which is exceptional preservation of soft tissues. You never hear this from anybody. They say there was no bones, that's clearly a bone. Everything I have is just very easy to test, and it's already been tested. I have 3 DNA tests, 7 CAT scans, chemistry, anatomy. I understand the process. I understand the invasion. I understand where all this happened. It was a boiling hot flood, and just now, just within a few weeks ago, MIT said, yes, this did happen. It was a boiling hot flood. And they say it was something big, like 2 or 3 times the size of Mount Everest. Well, it was actually a fiery comet.
Yeah, we can do misunderstanding of the scientific method on the bingo card for Roger.
Bounced right off our atmosphere and destroyed everything. Now, and the ancient texts talk about this, all of them. Velikovsky did this, and the academic, same people destroyed him. Well, I have so much evidence that now I am going to be the squirrel that saves the children. All right?
He is the squirrel.
He's trying to kill your children. And that's Yale, and that's Roger.
That's Yale. Okay.
All right? And the baby's dying. The baby's going to die. If Yale continues to survive, that baby will die. And that baby is your baby. All right? And that squirrel's not going to allow that. He says, I'll stick up for him. I will not surrender. I will not stand down. You cannot intimidate me, and I will bite your head off, and I will destroy you, and you will release my children. That's Roger. Go get him, Raj.
I hope I'm never at such a sad point in my life that aspirationally I'm comparing myself to Hero Squirrel YouTube videos.
No, he's not going to put up.
You know what I mean?
He says,
what a low point to be like, damn, I wish I was as cool as that Hero Squirrel.
Started it, and I will finish it. And he does. He says, no. Oh, look at the baby's okay. Oh, yeah? Take that, buddy. He says, no, I'm not going to walk away from you. Even though I got my baby, I could get away.
He's holding the camera and pointing with the feather in the other hand.
That's exactly what's going to happen, and that snake will be done for.
I'm the snake.
Right.
I'm the slippery little snake. Slippery little snake.
Snake.
I'm a 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 slippery little snake.
I'm a snake. I'm a slithery little sneaky snake. I'm so slithery and sneaky because I'm a snake. Slithering in your garden, catching me a mouse. Snake. I'm a snake. Look.
Anyway. So that's the snake Roger killed or something. Back to that video about, quote, again, the title of this is Homosexuals Are Feminine Males, so they should look like girls.
It's very inexpensive. And what you're going to find is that very soon all of my stuff is going to go onto paid for sites, Patreon being one, and because, you know, YouTube is a dead loss.
Canonically, Squirrel Girl defeated Thanos, Ego, the Living Planet, Doctor Doom, and Wolverine. Interesting order that you put those in. Wolverine last is a weird choice, but it's true. She's unbeatable. She's the unbeatable Squirrel Girl. Midnight, thanks for 46 months, says, can I get a fuck Donald Trump? Fuck Donald Trump.
It's an absolute dead loss. So there's no point in me being on YouTube other than to advertise other platforms. So please join the Patreon, the address is there, and you will find that you will be updated there rather than here over the next few months. So today, however, let's talk about homosexuality, and you'll have to excuse that I'm a little bit on a list here. I can't get this bloody thing to stand up straight at that. So, oh, by the way, somebody was criticising me for being Scottish. I'm Scottish, and I am not about to moderate my accent for anybody. Right? Get it clear. So, you know, sign up and be nice. So we're going to talk about homosexuality. Now, we've said this before, but let's say it again. Let's cover the ground again so we know what we're talking about. Homosexuality is a concept that was actually created in the 19th century. And the first reference to the word homosexual comes from a guy called Carl Maria Kertbeny, It was actually not his real name.
Literally other mammals and non-mammals, but like pretty much all mammal species that I am aware of engage in homosexual behavior. I understand that you can talk about the modern, like, sociological conception of homosexuality is different than it was historically, and that's fine to talk about, but I don't think that's what he means. I don't think that's what he means.
But that's what he's known as in a letter. And it's quite clear from other writings of Kirkberry, he was not a fan of homosexuals, by the way. He was thoroughly negative. But it's quite clear that what he was talking about was what had previously been known as a catamite. Now, the word catamite comes from Ganymede, who was the very beautiful young lad whom Zeus had kidnapped as his sex slave, or his lover, whatever you want, you know.
I'm sorry, what? I need to go back. We need to re-listen to that. H-Baird says, I can see it now, a bunch of men with handlebar mustaches in a lab in Victorian Cambridge looking at test tubes as they create the first gay person.
Beautiful young lad whom Zeus had kidnapped as his sex slave, or his lover, whatever you want, you know. Anyway, this boy was the receptive sexual partner to Zeus. And this, by the way, was absolutely commonplace in this culture. It didn't...
Is he basically an advocate for, like, Greek pederasty? Is that what we're doing? Is that what this video is about? He's against... Is the point of this video that he finds, let's call it, modern homosexuality he considers perverse, but he considers Greek pederasty to be acceptable? Oh, so he's just a pedophile. He's just a pedophile. Oh, God.
Signify anything other than that Zeus was incredibly masculine, right? So, Benny saying, these are catamites and I disapprove, basically. Now, the word entered English, and at the same time as this was happening, a concept was arrived at, both in Germany, where really the first sexologists...
He writes guides and fan fiction about how to have sex with Thai trans women. He's also extremely homophobic. What?
...existed. And in England...
This guy isn't really tinfoil, but I might need to give him his own stream? Cause what the fuck? Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh, this poor woman who has to deal with his creepy fucking ass. Oh God. Okay. We'll watch this guy on another day, because he's more chud than anything else, but Jesus Christ. Is that conspiracy theorist tells on himself? I don't know. I don't know if he's a conspiracy theorist. He's just a weirdo. And, like, pretty shit.
It happened, and you can't say for 100%.
Here's a video from Nathan Oakley, the There's No Downward Bias Flat Earther. He's watching a clip from the Lotus Eaters podcast, which I believe is the podcast of Sargon of Akkad, though he's not necessarily on it. He's a producer. So yeah, let's check it out. Just a Peach with a tip says, I think this is the chaser I saw on the Wingnut Roundup. Certainly could be.
It didn't happen.
Yeah, I can. No, you can't travel through a sky vacuum. There is no sky vacuum. The gas we're breathing would also be able to travel through it as it expands at a high rate of speed into whatever volume it's got. If there's a volume rockets can go into, the gas would go into it. That's what gas does. It expands into...
Except there's a force holding the gases to the Earth. It's called gravity.
Volumes. So there is no empty space, empty volume above our heads for rockets to travel through. It's utterly absurd. I can say 100% it did not happen.
Not many people did.
Right.
Yeah, they're all liars, by the way. Every one of them that said that they've been into the sky vacuum that doesn't exist, they're all liars. Every single one of them have lied to you and the public when they said that they went to a place that doesn't exist.
The preponderance of evidence is that we did. But I believe we went to the moon. Of course we didn't.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
Did they point out that it's a violation of the second law of thermodynamics, or did they just express their belief that it wasn't?
That's one of Nathan Oakley's favorite things to go to, is a misunderstanding of the laws of thermodynamics for him to claim, it violates the second law of thermodynamics! It doesn't. Doesn't? Fine.
True.
This issue in particular makes people really angry for some reason. I don't know why.
It is the point we're going to go through each tiny bit of feast of nonsense stuff, aren't we?
Yeah, I don't mind, because it's like nostalgic, isn't it? We've been talking about how things used to be. So now we can draw all of our Narnia comparisons, can't we? Oh, well, there's so many people with the fur coats that go through the wardrobe. There's so much footage of them going through that wardrobe. I mean...
No one claims that the different productions of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe are real. That's not a claim anyone's making. So this is a straw man argument, and it makes you sound like a dickbag.
Have you seen the quantity of Turkish delights that they've brought back from Narnia? How the gas lamp works in Narnia akin to space. I mean, maybe we could discuss whether or not rockets would work in the sky vacuum. Like, how have they managed to plumb the gas to get to the lamp when you get through the wardrobe in Narnia? I mean, we could discuss this within the context of there definitely being a sky vacuum, aka wardrobe, that we can traverse through the high-pressure gas that's just going to stop at the Kármán line. Just chill out, defy gas.
It doesn't just stop, it's a gradient.
Gas law, maybe go down, go boom boom, eat too many cakes. Yeah, gas law don't apply to me at the Kármán line. I'm going to chill out here. What's that? Rocket? See you later, Rocket. Bye, you off to the moon.
Shout out to the rebellious gas particles.
Yeah, those rebellious gas particles eating cake and defying gas law. You go, girls, more power to you. Wave goodbye.
They're not defying anything. They're doing exactly what we expect them to do under the globe model.
To those rockets, eat some cake.
That's the thing about Nathan that's annoying, is he's so arrogant. Yeah, Stone Corbell. He's so full of himself and so confident, and he's always wrong.
Hey, come back down, go boom boom. What's that? You'd have to reach absolute zero to do so. Define the first law. Yeah, there's a lot of things being defied here, but we're just talking about a bullshit narrative where men who lie claim to be when they punt the idea of travelling to the moon. It's not like any of this.
Amber says, homosexuality, queer identity as we now know it, originates from the commentary carried out regarding Oscar Wilde's trial for gross indecency in 1895. The court's smoking gun was the queer subtext of A Portrait of Dorian Gray. Oh, I didn't know about that.
This is real. It doesn't really matter if it doesn't work. Who cares? People believe it. And you can assess it based on historic standards and probability, whether or not they went through that wardrobe. I mean, through this high-pressure gas we're breathing. We're definitely breathing high-pressure gas, by the way. It's just not expanding into a sky vacuum in violation of natural law.
It's not in violation of anything. It's only a violation if you don't believe gravity exists, and that's not what the globe model posits. Harold Elbelman says, Hannah, there's clearly been a clerical error. You've got a king cake in your P.O. box, and I've got, well, please take a look in the photography channel of the Discord. Let me take a look. The Discord photography. Where is that? That looks like tundra. That looks like a very cold place. I hope you're staying as warm as you possibly can, because that looks not fun. And thank you so much for the king cake. I'll get it picked up as soon as I can. So here's more Nathan Oakley. This is him responding to Jeranism's letter leaving the flat earth.
It's
flat earth on the bingo card. Has a flat earther ever explained why air pressure decreases as altitude increases? I've not seen that. I've not seen them explain it. It wouldn't surprise me if some of them have come up with some sort of token explanation, but I'm not familiar.
Get a mention, by the way.
Oh, really? Is it positive?
It
Hey,
depends on how
James,
you
good to
look
see
at
you.
it. I got to read this thing.
Ugh, I have to read like 2 pages of text in a normal book. Ugh, I'm exhausted, says the Flat Earth. This isn't that much to read. I can even, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's like 14 or 15 paragraphs. That's not that much to read. Fun fact.
Oh, God.
I could read it, but Clover's in
You're
the room.
curious if Hannah's going to try to learn puppetry for us. If we actually get the puppet stream thing, I am going to spend some time trying to learn how to do it correctly. Not going to just half-ass it.
With me, so she'll undoubtedly be quite noisy. So ideally, yes. I've got it on screen, but it's so long that nobody's going to be able to read that, even at my high-resolution capture of this.
Yeah, it's small, too.
Zoom in! Zoom
Oh,
in!
you guys are used to that. That's what she said.
Oh, wow.
All right. Hold on.
I'm holding.
I bet you are. Oh, that
What
makes
does that
it
even
small.
mean?
Okay.
That's what she said.
Okay.
How old is Nathan Oakley?
From the treasonous, treacherous traitor, Hanoi Jaren, J.E. Rants. Well, as you may have noticed, things have been going just great. Getting accused of everything you can imagine.
Sorry, I'm trying to see his age. Because I know I've done That's What She Said jokes before. I feel like it's been a bit, but certainly, I don't know if I'd be carrying on. I don't know.
Is fun. Being dropped in a heartbeat by people you thought were friends is fun. Finding out creators who you...
Just a peach with a $1 tip says, Flat Earther must suck at making cakes at altitude. We are in the path of the snow. Oh no, stay safe and warm.
Thought were good researchers. What? Are actually so bad they believe the impossible. That's all fun. People lie about you, post private info, post private chats, and have prank calls. My wife got a message from someone saying the date and time Lisbeth and Jaren slept together. And this person only...
That's all very depressing, Amber.
knew
Jesus.
Because Lisbeth was upset I told her we were separated. Complete fabrication. Luckily, my wife isn't a retard who believes every stupid thing she hears.
Strike one.
People in this Telegram group think...
Oh, of course they hate Jaren. He left the Flat Earth and told them all that they're ridiculous.
It's fake. Stupid ass retard Sob says, "Oh, Jaren, you would be doing the same." Oh, sure I would. Believing in literally something that can't be done, these people are stupid, rude, and cocky over nothing. I've been told that if I go back to the globe, it means I've been a shill for 10 years and I will be handled properly. People are making me bets, then disappearing. Claiming things are fake on Facebook, and I show up and challenge them and they delete the post. People are lying about the trip to their audience and we will never get our name back. It's gone. The things I've seen in chats are awful. Do these people think they are funny? Let's make...
Can I explain the strike system? I see you use it for some and not others. I wonder how it works and stuff. If someone uses a slur, I basically 3 strikes, they're out. We didn't the other day for one thing because it was the only thing we were watching that day. But, like, typically, if someone's using slurs and stuff, I give them 3 chances and then we're done with the video.
This clear. FE is a joke. It is filled with lazy, terrible researchers. These people are terrible humans. They have no love for friends, and they will do anything for a click. Then we have those in chat.
It was for Jaren, but that was also because that was all we were watching that day, and Jaren has an unfortunate habit of acting like a 12-year-old and using the R slur.
The flat earthers who watch are so
a lot of
easily
flat earthers
deceived.
do.
And when the
a lot of flat earth discourse sounds a lot like 12-year-old boys in middle school arguing in a locker room.
Evidence is non-existent. I've seen people in chats who I know I know the answer, and they don't speak up, letting this shitty info go out to everyone. The worst part is these people are cocky, do nothing but post memes and repeat bullshit. We're not in a place to be cocky, and he's on each side to through each other under the
I want to see Nathan Oakley's response.
matter. Who plays lawn chair quarterback? It's a joke. Do not create more reason for me to see this is the right. He said, I am exiting the cult. Keep comments on topic. Back and forth will be removed. End of treasonous, treacherous traitors. Goodbye speech.
Treasonous, treacherous traitor. He just called Jaredism a treasonous, treacherous traitor for not being a flat earther anymore.
Who's with me?
Later.
So who's with me?
Oh, Jerry
it's
Maguire.
like in Jerry Maguire, everyone goes back to work. Nobody pays attention. Well, I'm taking this fish.
It's literally us right now.
Who's
throw a going away party?
Take care now. Bye then.
Who's gonna be the girl that goes with him?
Karen B.
I told you, he said that on day one. He said, we got to get back to work. We got to figure things out. I don't know what the hell he's got to figure out.
Yeah, we're all right. We already figured it out, Jaren. The only thing that stood in our way while we were figuring it out was you twat.
We figured it out, Jaren. You were on a fake movie set the whole time. That's literally why he's leaving, guys, because of shit like this.
Exactly.
Was that
So
ice walls, AE maps that are globe projections?
Do they have any rebuttal, or are they just going to be smug? I'm sure Jaren will take some time to claim that, oh, you can't, it violates the second law of thermodynamics. We did it.
Observations of the sun.
It's measured flat, except it's not, but we're going to say it is, and then idiots will believe us.
No, Jaren. No. What you've done is led people onto a bigger ball that's obvious because of how flat we measure Home Depots. You're a twat. Get lost and don't come back.
Is this a leopards eating faces thing happening? Basically, Jaren did this behavior for a decade, and now he's shocked that he's getting treated how he treated everyone who he claimed was a liar.
Findings have not fully come true.
How you figure?
Well, he said he's not a glober. I want him to be a full-fledged glober.
He's not a glober. He was a glober from the beginning.
He's not! What? He said he's not.
Best way to control the opposition is to lead it.
He didn't lead me.
No, me
I knew he was a scam in 2017. Kept on telling you guys you didn't want to listen.
No, that goes back to you. You should have never listened to those people that told you, no, let's not ruffle any feathers. You should have dealt with that right away. Always go with your first instincts.
That's my cross to bear, but I caught up.
Did you see what Fisherman in a Box did? Made me into the Godfather.
No, then do you have something?
Yeah, hold on. I'll show you.
So while you're getting that, we got to go to the mattresses now. This is a war. This is a declaration of war.
It's a declaration of war that Jaren doesn't want to be a part of your cult anymore?
Who's the... what? What? Where are you at? Is that you, Nathan, on that picture?
So, on the one hand, you're like, great. But as we were discussing in the pre-show, there are certain individuals out there that are being called chills and grifters and scammers, pretty much like I was, by the same people, that are in need of defense by various other individuals.
Miss Heyer says there are buildings that are so long they have to compensate for curvature. I might be mistaken, though. Wish I could remember more details. That is a thing. It mostly happens with stuff like bridges, like long suspension bridges, like the Mackinac Bridge or the Golden Gate Bridge, stuff like that.
For their actions?
Oh, I wasn't saying it was bad because it was depressing, Amber. It was interesting.
What? What's going on?
So let's just say that you'll pay me because it's in your interest to pay me. But I want your answer and the money by noon tomorrow. And one more thing. Don't you contact me again.
So are they just gonna cream their pants over pretending they're Michael Corleone?
Put it in Ballbusters.
Don Oakley.
So when do we come over and kiss the ring?
Metaphorically, you already are.
Listen, we got to go to the mattresses.
You like that, huh?
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah, shout out to Fisherman in a Box. He's, like I say, I've been watching him for a while, but he's very complimentary of us, and you especially, Huey. And me especially, obviously, as you can tell.
Obviously. I don't know the gentleman.
Well, listen, Nathan could be the godfather, and you could be the consigliere, which is even more important. You're the advisor of the family. Very important.
I think
Thanks, Neil.
That Fisherman in a Box guy, I see good things in his future, right? Based on in that video that I've just put in Master B.
You can tell he has good things in his future because he's filleting Nathan. Makes sense. Okay, let's move on. I actually have to use the bathroom real quick, so I'll be right back. While I'm gone, Cher will tell you about Dario Argento's Phenomena. I'll be right back. Cher, behave. I demand it. You're back. Okay, I wanted to watch something a little different today. This isn't Hans Wormhat, but it's the guy who kind of sounds like Hans Wormhat with his partner, which is interesting because we don't normally see the conspiracy theorists interacting with their partners, so I wanted to check this out.
And it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. Missing an element to this channel, and it's my partner. So she's come along for the ride. We're sitting here by the fire, cozy, with our little man, and we're looking to talk about a lot of different things. She's kept me sane during all this, and she's got a lot to say, as I do.
Yeah, he has a partner, so does Hans. Hans is married and has kids.
Of course.
This is why I don't take incels seriously, by the way. Literally every insane and awful person I've ever come across has a partner. Like, it's not hard.
the world we live in, and we're going to cover some broad spectrum stuff we've covered before, maybe cover some new ground, and then make this more regular as we go forward, because it's interesting. It's fun to speak about things we see out there in this world that aren't talked about that often, or if they are talked about, they're talked about behind closed doors. So without further ado, here's my partner, Danny.
Did we start saying hi?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, where do we start off?
Most people would rather be with crazy than be alone. And also, I don't know if you know this, women can be crazy too. Crazy people find each other all the time.
So we've got some show notes here in front of us. And first thing I've got is, the world we live in, the lake woebegone. The idea being a world where the women are strong and the men are good looking. And it's straightforward, but people don't necessarily understand it unless they're...
Where does that come from? What is that?
It's like this, it's like this book series this guy made. I think it's a fictional town created by this guy, Garrison Keller, and setting for many of Keller's stories and novels. So yeah, it's the setting, of many novels they wrote, but it's how they preface it, that it's telling about our society, our world, where that's the preferential treatment, where the women are strong and the men are, the reverse. Yeah, women are strong and that's not correct. Women are strong and the men are good looking. And it's not that, obviously, we can't have that with XX women or XY males. It's just, generally speaking, you'd say the opposite.
Right.
You'd want to say the women are good looking and the men are strong, because we're out doing stuff and helping out in a more physical way, whereas the women are obviously way more than their looks, but that's, of the two, the more good looking, so to speak. So then there's some general terms that come across, that we see out in the world. So MTF, the male to females that we see, the XY females. It's just straightforward, right? If you watch films, often I always think of gangster films, they'll call the women broads. It's you would never call an XX woman a broad, because you got a curvy back and you're all full of curves. So it's just straight.
Does he think when they're calling women broads, it's because, you got broad shoulders, sugar? Does he think, that's what broads means? It's you're so broad. What a dame.
Forward, who are these broads? It's kind of a derogatory term, but it's only them.
That one I never thought of before, but it's so, it is so obvious.
It's obvious.
Oh no, she agrees with him! Oh.
And I've heard it a million times, and I just thought, they're these Lothario type, they're these sleep around. They don't have a good relationship with their partner. Who would ever refer to a woman as a broad unless you were this kind of devious character?
Just a Peach with $1 says, I have those books and listened to the stories on NPR as a kid. It was a joke about the North, Midwest, and Lutherans.
But then it's in plain sight. And then I always think back to that time, was it New Year's 2020, when my mom, as we know, quotations, and I...
He thinks his mom is secretly his dad. Oh, that's something. Transphobia on the bingo card.
I sang Ain't No Hollaback Girl I think it was after New Year's, quote unquote New Year's, it's fake New Year's, right? January 1st had hit.
What do you mean it's fake New Year's? New Year's is a social construct. You can pick any point on the Earth's orbit and say, all right, this is the start of a year, and then once it gets back to that point, that's a year. January 1st is when we have collectively kind of decided that's it. That's the new year. for sort of the Western world. Oh, God.
Just how silly that was and how I knew what was going on, but it was just kind of funny. I don't know. And I think she was laughing too, because it's the big joke. Ain't no hollaback girl, because Gwen Stefani is a dude. She's a broad. She's not a hollow back girl. And how that song was everywhere. The shit is bananas. And there's something to that too, how they push bananas and everything, and how like people are monkeys and like they eat bananas. It's like something about
This shit is bananas. Bananas. He thinks bananas are a part of an evolution conspiracy? Bananas are just delicious. Have you eaten a banana? They're good.
bananas. I think they're like a highly modified fruit. And the banana
like every fruit we eat is highly modified. Every vegetable we eat is highly modified. What are you talking about?
Dish that we get is not.
Or that part is telling that she's got a banana.
She's got a banana. She's hot. She's tucking. That's probably what it is. Shim is tucking.
That's probably what it is.
So then, yeah, often when they get older, both of us have had these characters in our lives. They get to be like scary, harpy control freaks. Not all are like this. Like I've definitely, in my life, especially when I'm looking back to like high school and college years, met some XY females that were nice and like timid, seemingly quiet. But many of them are like domineering, like high priestess of Christmas type control freaks.
What?
That
high priestess of Christmas?
To do it. And like I
feel like we missed something.
You told me about like your ex and how his mom, quote unquote, was very demanding and uncomfortable.
Really had to control every detail.
Relevant joke. Monkey! Monkey!
Monkey! Of everything. Yeah.
And I gotta say, I don't see the FTM doing that as much. It just does. It's not in there. Like my quote unquote dad was way more relaxed and would always reassure me with statements like, "Oh, you know your mother's heart's in the right place," even though like she's a little bit erratic and crazy. Like what she's saying, it can be kind of scary, but you know she wants the best for you. And I was like,
I'm starting to think maybe mental illness runs in this guy's family, and his mom had some issues that were perhaps passed on to him.
Yeah, but there's another way.
He thinks his parents are secretly T for T. He does. So does Hans. They both think most people are secretly trans.
Doing it, it's not. So then on the other side, I think of the free martins or the ones that were tucking socks or pretending to be males. Female, that's the term itself is loaded, where you have the fictional character Iron Man, and FE is the periodic table. It is the element on the periodic table that you refer to as iron. FE is iron.
Right, and it's related to Mars, and then that saying like men are from Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's telling that their men are from
That's
Mars.
a random book a guy wrote. Like, what?
So it's all
Illuminati, Freemasons, Cabal, yes.
Scripted in their direction, and they tell you, but then they don't really tell you. And then I think of also Batman, where in Hebrew, bat mitzvah means girl, so girl man, and think.
Once again, I want to put out there... Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Not Freemason. They said Free Martin. They said Free Martin, not Freemason. No, undo that Illuminati Freemason thing. You're right. I apologize. Free Martin is not Freemason. They're completely different things. They're not even related.
Think of the Batman character, where he's all like...
I've not heard this Batman one before.
And hidden and secretive and... has these dual identities.
That's not how Hebrew works. That's what we're getting hung up on, is the incorrect usage of Hebrew. I think that's about 7th on my list of problems.
And goes out at nighttime and is a vigilante, but like always hides his identity. It's because they don't want to tell you that they're really a girl inside. And I think that's Batman is One of the most celebrated characters in media because of that. It's like so relatable to so many of them. They can really relate to that.
There are so many characters that you can think of as like headcanon trans characters. I have never considered Bruce Wayne to be one of them. If that's a headcanon of yours, I'm not gonna yuck your yum. I just don't see it.
Batman. And then X-Men as a whole, which relates both ways, as in former men, EX men, and then XX men. It's like telling you it's both them. And I think superheroes venerate them and are corny. So then in general, when we out in society, especially in America, it seems that the XX males or the Free Martins run the show. Like every president's always been that. Even when you look at pharaohs, like the King Tut's feminine hips, it's always women that are...
King Tut and his feminine hips? You mean his severe birth defects? Like, he was pretty fucked up physically, you know, from all the inbreeding.
Doing all the, like, I think of Martin Luther King, they're the ones making these big speeches, they're the ones that are, like, hoisted up. And then in the background, you have the swire or the XY, quote unquote, females that are the first ladies and just looking very scary. So it's interesting, but maybe there's something to that where a female is, people are more receptive to a female. Like it's less intense and scary to look at a female than it is a male, where it's like, geez, that's like, the person's intimidating. Like you look at Melania, it's like scary looking eyes and intense, whereas
oh no, I hear a baby! Fuck!
Our little man's here. Whereas, I don't know, Donna Trump, it's like, oh, it's a cushy chunk. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something into that.
Well, going back to like what we were saying, the name, like the female or whatever, there's no actual like real word for a grown woman.
Yeah, it's weird. And it's derivative.
Woman? What do you mean there's no word for a grown woman? Woman is the word for that. What are you talking about?
It's like even woman.
In the beginning, they said they were with their baby. I thought they meant like a cat or something. I thought they were being facetious. Like they were like, oh, we're with our baby, wink, you know, like how people call like their cats babies. I didn't know they literally meant their baby, like a human child.
Man, we're gonna get into that.
Oh, yeah.
But it's how it's derivative of man. It's like it's always the man. Like the way the society, the way our language is constructed, or how it's been presented, is very patriarchal or very.
Yeah, I forgot his wife was close to term from that other video.
And based.
Oh, that kid's fucked. That kid's gonna have all of the illnesses.
There's no patriarchy.
But there is no patriarchy. It's a lie.
Yeah.
So.
Oh boy.
But it's amazing because I think we've been using like wrong words, like they've deleted words, whereas like we used to call.
I'm far from hating on children, Phoenix. I'm scared for that child. I want that child to be safe, but they are not safe right now because they are in the custody of two wackadoos.
Ladies. Sort of laddies. It's just not really.
Does he think everyone is trans? Yes.
Good word. It sucks.
Otherwise, we'd have to go with girls.
Girls and boys, like that works.
But then it's like we're children.
But we're children.
I don't like that.
No. So
gray hair. I need
a
better term.
You need a better term. Like we've grown a little bit past that.
What do I think is going on with such specific fixations that everyone is trans? I'm trying to figure out the roots of this. From what I've seen both from this guy in other videos and Hans, it stems at least partially from an incredible lack of an incredible insecurity in their own masculinity. They have talked all the time about how insecure they were when they were kids, about their bodies, about how they were so skinny and lanky, and they felt like they were lesser than and not manly enough. And I think this is almost a reactive, like, no, I'm really a man, and all of you are secretly not real men. That's why you were doing that to me. That kind of thing. Does he think his partner is secretly trans? No, he does not.
I don't like to think of us as like the eternal children that these people are, petulant children. And I used to have Zach on, and he talked about how he doesn't think he's ever interacted with one of them that wasn't like above, say, like 13 in age, like 13 in their.
Like nobody's matured past that age.
Nobody's matured past that age.
That's literally my mom and dad.
Yeah.
It's like they're stunted.
Yeah.
I mean, my mom's obviously a real woman, but they're still just like.
They're mentally 13. They don't they like poop and fart jokes, and they don't like get beyond stupid politics and talk. It's all sham. They just keep going along with it. They can't get beyond that like basic like sense of maturity and sense of self, where they're not just basically taking the piss or trying to do something underhanded or act like like a petulant child. It feels like that's very common, to just behave like a child. And I've heard stories of like my dad throwing M&Ms at people at parties and stuff. And it's like, you never grew up. Like, it's just weird. And they don't seem to go through a puberty. It's like this fake hormone puberty. So Cowboys are America's favorite team. The idea of gentlemen, that clearly doesn't refer to regular men. We're not gentle. I'm very coarse. I've broken a lot of things. I don't do well with a lot of like delicate things, just by nature.
What are you talking about? First of all, he's taking gentleman very literally, but also you're breaking shit? What are you talking about?
And then on the next topic, talking about clothes, everything's made for them. I think that a basic thing is that, especially when it refers to like women's, quote unquote, women's clothes, XX women are ostracized and are made to feel less than, because things that actually fit them naturally, because they have more construction tissue, just being themselves, being healthy, they're referred to as plus size, and it makes you.
I've noticed this with Hans too. They tend to be into fuller figured women and tend to view thinner women as not feminine. To them, it feels like the primary, secondary sexual characteristic of women is a lot of like fat, hips, big tits, like big ass, like cuddly, squishy, So it just seems like they don't think that any women that are smaller are women, which is funny, because I wonder what he would think of me, because I'm plus sized, you know what I mean? And I'm trans, and like I have hips and shit. I don't know if you've seen this. Like, you can get hips. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? And I assure you, I was born with a penis. Ugh.
Makes women feel like they constantly have to think about their weight. And to this day, I mean, I think that you've basically been.
I think I got lucky in that I started hormones before my pelvic, whatever the thing is that like makes your bones not grow anymore. I think I got the hormones before those sutures seized or whatever.
Messed with. You would never act this way had you not been messed with. But my partner Danny here, like, she doesn't like talking about her weight, and I think it just has to do with the society we grew up in. It should be just, okay, I'm this weight. That's the way I feel comfortable.
Ashley One Up says, they'll either say you're lying about being trans or you were secretly converted to male as a kid and you're becoming your true self again. I'm not gonna lie. If I found out that was true, I'd be pissed. Where's the other armhole for this? There we go. I had to show my fucking stupid hips. We did it.
And it shouldn't be a big deal. But I think because for so many years you've been just exposed.
The claiming people are lying about being trans is always wild. That's weird to me. I wish every day of my life that I was cis. That I was a cis woman. And do you think I'm gonna come out here and fucking pretend to be trans to put a target on my back? And, like, get insulted and treated like less than a person by people? Go fuck yourself. Just a Peach says you can still be fun when are old. Being plus size is not the only way to be a woman. Green Guy says, Hannah, you said crazy finds crazy, and I looked at my wife. Also, you and I have 16 great-great-grandparents. Cleopatra only had 6. They're keeping it in the family.
It's all this stuff. You've thought, oh, I'm overweight, or oh, I'm not good enough because there's all these people around that you could never compare to. It's just by bones.
Yeah, I mean, I remember in high school, like, that was the time I, like, would buy the most clothes. Because going to school and whatever. But it was the most frustrating thing because to find something that fit, that I was comfortable in, like bras, most annoying shit.
Oh yeah, that's another funny thing.
That is the most annoying thing. So, like, all the straps would fall off my shoulders. And if I bend over, they flop right out of the middle. And I don't even understand why anybody's even making bras. Like, why are we making bras for no-tit Tammy, who doesn't even need them because they're fake anyways and they're just going to stay in place regardless. Just put some tape over the nips and go on with your day. Like, I don't, every bra.
The derision aimed at other women is interesting here. Like, misogyny coming out of men, like, it's bad, but I'm kind of used to it. I'm still taken a little aback when I hear this level of misogyny come out of, like, other women's mouths. Jesus Christ.
Made for that, so that's why I just wear, like, the little fitted kind of crop top underneath my shirt, because I'm like, I give up.
Yeah.
I'm not spending $50-$60 on a bra that's freaking made for you.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Well, and it's true. Like, I don't know why I never, like, made the connection, but she talks about it all the time. Like, my nipples are basically in my armpits. Like, they're so far out. Whereas, like, you look at the quote-unquote male celebrities or these people showing off their shirts, they're always straight. They're boobs, basically. They're right on the center of their chest.
Yeah.
How far apart are this guy's nipples? Like, I'm not body shaming. I don't care what this guy's got going on nipple-wise, but he brought it up. He's got, like, super wide-set nipples, like they're over here. Alright. Altered Undying says, story time. I was in high school and I wore medium everything. One day I went into the store and the medium was too big for me. I thought I was shrinking and dying, but the store just changed the sizes. Yeah, sizing is not standard. That's crazy that people don't get that.
So everything's opposite and flipped, where the bras are made for boobs that are way out, and maybe they have an A cup from taking estrogen, or like just way out.
They make all sorts of different bras of all different shapes and sizes. What stores are you going to?
Or yeah, they're no tit Tammy. And
Baha says, do these people think unironically that male and females can only have one single type of body? Like all males and females have to look identical to themselves or they're secretly trans? Yes, they have very strict dimorphic ideas of male and female, and anything that is outside of that platonic ideal, they're suspect to them. Yes.
You're just looking at this like, what is this nonsense? My nipples are way over here. They're like exposed now. Like, this doesn't even fit. And it's such an awkward thing that it's made that way, and it's not like.
Harold Edelman says, wait, maybe they have an A cup from taking estrogen. Hannah, can you confirm taking estrogen will get you more than an A cup? It's going to depend on the person, but you're certainly not limited at an A cup. Like, I'm thinking of myself and other trans women I know. I don't think there's a single one that I know that stayed at an A cup. You pass through it as you're taking the hormones, but like, you know, I think you're underestimating the amount of potential growth.
where
most that I am aware of at minimum, yeah, are B. Some are C. I think I'm in the B range. I don't know for sure.
Why can't there just be like it's just in the open, like, oh yeah, there's XY women everywhere, there's XX males everywhere, these fit them, it's not like that. It's just all made for them, and they just like
Avalon says, from what I've heard, it depends more on your genetics, so look at the other women in your family. Yeah, that's what I've heard too.
We're in the mix, so they're just gonna, or really they like it's a war against us. Really, we don't get clothes.
Progesterone helps with boob stuff too. So if you're, this is just random unsolicited advice, if you're trans feminine and looking to grow some boobs, ask your doctor, endocrinologist, or whatever about progesterone. Helps a lot.
Don't get clothes.
In my anecdotal experience. Overthought says, just from your logistical standpoint, how would this work? When are people transitioning? I think you'd notice everyone in your class transitioning. Does he mean people are transitioning as babies? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I don't know when he thinks people are transitioning, because you would know about it. And also, why would people be transitioning? Like, if everyone in the world was secretly trans, would they really be trans? Wouldn't that just be the gender norms? If everything was reversed of what it is now?
And yeah, now living in the country, I mean, you don't really feel the need to wear a bra. I mean,
well, here's the good thing though that comes from that is like, okay, well, you know, I'm just not going to wear a bra anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you know what? I'm not going to get all these issues because my lymphatic system is clogged and like building up and not able to drain because of like this constrictive shit. So it's like
bras feel wrong. They feel weird to me, and even underwear.
I mean, there might be a reason they feel weird to you, sir.
So it's like,
I know what he means.
Bras feel wrong. They feel weird to me, and even underwear to some extent. I mean, I feel like you're supposed to air out your area. Even socks. Like, there's so many like constructs of our clothes that, or like I think of like tight-fitting shoes and so forth. But to get back on point with bras, like I think you're supposed to let them hang out. Like we were talking about with pregnancy, there's this book we've kept close to us by Susan Weed where she's talking about expose your breasts and like go out in the sun and give them air and all that, like to keep them healthy. You don't want to constrict them. And
well, we were never meant to wear clothes, and you know.
No.
Right.
So that
we were never meant to wear clothes. Sir, are you familiar with literally the Ice Age? Are you familiar with cold weather? Are you familiar with any situation where it's not ideal to go outside naked? It's like -8 outside right now. I need clothing.
That could be even like a deeper connection, is like we should be mostly naked and just...
Socks are comfortable. I'll die on this hill. I will fight all of you that socks are comfortable. Look at this sock. I'm going to put it on right now. It's so comfortable. I'm going to keep my feet warm. It's like walking on clouds.
Accepting of our bodies and not weird about it. But then like this world came in and everything got weird, and they started making women wear bras, and I don't know, like I'm gonna get onto it, like clothing. So like for males, XY men, ties, bow ties, I hate them. They're so restrictive. I have this like strong long neck. It just doesn't fit me, and I think it's I'm
gonna put this out there in terms of bras. There's a multitude of social reasons, but if this guy's mad at bras, can I posit you something? The first time I went out without a bra, this was after I had grown, like, boobs. I was normally wearing thicker stuff, you know, hoodies and stuff like that. But one day, when I had finally grown the boobs, I went out without a bra. This was a period where I was very resistant to wearing a bra all the time out in public. I don't have to. But, like, at the time, I was like, what's the point? Why do it? I don't care. Whatever. But then that day came, and I went to the store without a bra and the wrong shirt on. And I think he would start to understand why women wear bras after you realize, oh no, I'm not wearing a bra, and every single man in this store is noticing. I'm not mad at them, necessarily. I'm just saying, It was something I noticed. So if you don't want to have everyone, at least all the men, stare at you at the store, sometimes it makes sense to wear a bra, is all I'm saying. So Hans, if you're not Hans, sorry, not Hans guy, whatever the heck this guy's name is, if you're wondering why the bras, there's a variety of reasons. One of them is, I don't need strangers looking at my nipples.
They're there in the first place to kind of conceal the neck of an X-Men and just try to show all that, like, oh, like they're really a man, but they're wearing a tie to kind of conceal that, that they don't really have a neck. And then also to enhance the fact that they don't have a neck and pretend they have a neck, V-necks. I'll never forget, I went to Fort Lauderdale and I got like a couple clothes when I was there.
Mossloth, thanks for 14 months, says, woohoo, just got my teeth imprinted for a bite guard. Nice. Oh, sorry, I missed a tip. Green guy with a $3 tip says, tell me without telling me how passive your life is, saying you don't need socks. Hiking, definitely needs socks. Hard labor, let people wear what they want.
It was a swim trip when I was in high school, and I got a V-neck. I'd never gotten V-necks my whole life, and that was just comical because I was on my own, and I was like, I want to get this outfit. And I saw the V-neck, and I wore it, and I was like, this looks ridiculous on me. Like, my neck is so long that it was like deep into my chest, and it's like showing like my hair, and I'm just like, I'm not this like suave Fabio type of person. So it just looked so awkward on me.
Well, isn't V-necks like the whole point is to like show cleavage? Why are
For
they...
no,
woman, I would think.
For men, no.
But they make them for men too. But I think, quote unquote, men. But I think it's that. I think it's they don't have a neck, so it kind of gives you the illusion that they do. It's like, oh, like yeah, they do.
He's of the opinion that most men don't have necks.
They're wearing a t-shirt, and you can see their whole like chest and neck, and it's all there. And yeah, it's an illusion thing. And a lot of free martins I've hung out with in the day, or girls who tuck, dick girls, they wear V-necks. They love them. And then to go forward with the like males, XY men stuff that doesn't work for us. All shirts are too short. I lift my arms up. They always, like my belly always is exposed. And then pants are too long. It's generally the case, or like, yeah, too loose. Like there's so much rumpus in male pants. It's so hard for me to find like slim fitting male pants.
Sorry, there was another tip too. Just a Peach said they have never seen a metaform bra of any kind.
I have a handful of pants that I wear, and like so many of them don't fit very well, or I have to wear a belt, otherwise they'll fall right off. And I feel like I don't work out a ton, but I garden and run around outside. I don't do like what's more like, I guess you would say like traditional like gym type working out ever. I just don't agree with it. Functional working out. I think that's for them too, a lot of the time. And then so I got those all basic things, and then just basic things that I think men are hit with, right? XY men are hit with.
Talk about leggings.
Time T says, literally their argument is clothes off the rack don't fit me automatically, therefore everyone else is trans. Like, do they know that's how clothes fit on everyone off the rack? Like they're general sizes. They're not going to be like fitted clothes that are really nice necessarily. The best you can do is find stuff that fits the best you can, and if you need to get it altered, you do, or you just live with it. Like,
we will get onto more on women next, but this is the XY men are hit with is dad bod. I will never have dad bod, and dad bod is mom bod. We are firm believers that swires and castratis, the XY females, do not give birth. We were in a preschool co-op, and there was a person there who was an XY female and gave birth, quote unquote, while we were having preschool, like during that short amount of time. And immediately got stick skinny and was wearing. It seemed like this person was wearing a moon bump during class.
Well, you could see the way that.
These people should not be allowed near other parents. Can you imagine if you were a parent at preschool and you found out that these psychos were at the preschool and had their kid come in there and behind your back were claiming you secretly weren't actually pregnant and you were faking it because secretly you're trans? Like, these people should not be allowed in public. These people are fucked.
She would move, like getting up and down off the floor, up and down off the couch.
This is just bigotry masquerading as insight. That's a lot of bigotry these days.
compared to another person that was there that was clearly a woman who was pregnant and would, you know, get up differently. It was like there was nothing. It's hard to get up when you got a big old belly.
There's no way you can just
And
stand
this
straight
squat
up.
could just like get up like it was no big deal.
Mhm.
I was like, there's no way.
And all the while, the husband's like covert and hidden, and like it's got to be them that's carrying, or they have a surrogate.
I think it was a surrogate.
Probably a
because
surrogate. He
was-
didn't look like he had gained
No,
much.
and he was showed up like right
The dad didn't gain weight. Gee, I wonder how they had the baby.
after she was away. So
So I just gotta wonder if like she was a semen donor or if he was, and it's a free. It's just so weird.
yeah.
It's so weird. It's so confusing. But yeah, there's a lot that could go into that. But yeah, basically the essence being these XY females. And then my story from that deeper is like this person I worked with for years.
This conversation is so weird, isn't it? How casually they carry on about this stuff and like reinforce each other casually. Like it's like, yeah, this totally makes sense.
Me that she carried her partner's sperm in her bra to get to the hospital to have it because like they couldn't do it naturally. They had to go that way. I'm like, that would never make sense. You can't carry
him go to the hospital with her to have the whole thing
right.
done.
And she said she was alone and she carried his sperm in a cup to the hospital. I'm like, it'd be warm. It would have died by then. So I think she was just bold-faced.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I've seen those children. They all look a little weird.
Yeah. So this
Your kids look weird because you took his cum in a cup to the hospital. Your kids are made of cup cum.
this XY female that I worked with for years, who in many ways was like a good mentor to me, but then was lying to me in so many ways and probably like pulling all these pranks on me, told me this straight faced. And I'm just thinking about it, like, you're just bold faced lying to me about how this happened. Because there's no way the sperm would have died out. Like, you have to have them, I think, frozen, or it'd have to be direct. Like, they're very delicate. Sperm are very delicate. So then, let's see, we don't believe in all goes through XX. So then, yeah, on to women, or we hate all these terms, but on to girls, I suppose. So high heels. Like, you've worn high heels probably. Like, it's just for them, of course, because they have no legs. So they're trying to give you the illusion that they have long legs.
When I was much younger, like,
heels are more for the ass. It pushes your ass up, and the way you walk is more assy. It adds some height, but like a lot of heels is about the ass.
I guess like early 20s. I would buy high heels, but I never really wore them because I felt like they made me too tall. I felt like it was weird.
Like, your legs were ridiculously long.
It was like too much.
It's too much. It's
too
extravagant. Like, you got the moon shoes and you're like stiff. Because, well, you're pretty tall, 5'7", 5'8", so that takes you to like 6 feet plus.
I just want to point out that his cis wife is taller than me.
Soaring over everybody. And...
Would that annoy him?
But then, just how awkward that is when you're all legs, because you already are legs. It's strange.
Hydrate.
Whereas
I'm out.
You know, where it's more even, because we've done the measurements.
I have to go fill up my water. I'll be right back, and then I'll do that hydrate.
And it's almost like, for me, it's like my legs and my torso are like the same. My torso is big, but like her torso is like really small compared to her long legs. And that's more of the natural proportion of things. I have a long torso and just kind of standard like short legs, and she's got long legs. Of course, we're XY male and XX female. And then another thing, we talked about the bras don't fit, as male nipples are near armpits while women are centered over chest. And then you mentioned jeans or waist.
My nipples are not in my armpits, for the record. I do not know why he thinks that his particular nipple orientation is the standard for men. I think he just has wide set nipples. Like, I don't think that's a man thing. I think that's a you thing, sir.
Way too low. And leggings are so high-waisted.
It's like the leggings are, yeah, they're so high-waisted that it's like you could just turn them into like a strapless jumper. Like I can pull like these high-waisted leggings like up over my boobs.
They're high-waisted.
I'm like, yeah, it's a jumper.
Don't buy the high-waisted ones if you don't want high-waisted leggings.
I don't get it.
Yeah. It's so weird. And yeah, like I had too many examples of XY females. Like one I worked with recently where their pants are just so high. They are like right underneath their fake boobs. And it's just like, you really try so hard to give this illusion that you have legs. Like it's insane. And I think of like 80s outfits and like this example, these high-waisted pants, but then also being like neon, like in your face.
Yeah.
And it's comical, but it's really awkward for regular women. Like this is so strange when you have them exaggerating the proportions in such a way.
And then the jeans give no room for butt and hips.
Absolutely none.
None.
To where again you're feeling
this is
like
a YouTube video, yes. Lance with 100 bits says, my brother was amused in high school in the early aughts when the boys had a habit of giving each other titty twisters and they would miss his nipples because they were somewhere other than where the guys thought they were. Bodies vary. This is bug nuts. Bug nuts. That's a fun one.
like I'm
Yeah, we'll go over bingo after this.
overweight or I'm plus size, but it's like no, not at all. You are not. You would fit in the male clothes. That's the idea.
Right.
You will fit in my jeans. You
Well,
will
it's
fit
also
in.
funny because like if I'm going to like I've got those flannels from Old Navy,
Mhm.
and they just fit weird, but they're also like twice the price. If I were to go to the men's section and get a flannel, it's gonna actually fit me, and it's gonna be like $8.
It's so ridiculous. It's like, yeah, you just naturally fit. And it's like, you end up going for more unisex stuff because it's like, whatever fits, man. Like, this is so hard to find clothing that actually fits. Or I've had to like go to like skinny and
Has
tall.
she tried Torrid? Like, if she's claiming she's more like full-figured or like plus size, Torrid is a great store for that. Like, I've shopped at Torrid.
All sites, and it's just
Doesn't understand their problem is capitalism. Yeah.
normal stores, your standard clothing stores. It's hard to find things that will last because you're built so differently than what they cater to. And then moving on from clothing, I'm sure we'll like bring. Oh no, it's actually no. Sorry, like one thing I forgot to mention was that you said t-shirts are boxy as heck. Like they're really, like, I mean, of course, like
Yeah.
there's the proportion that you don't have the shoulders, you have sloped shoulders. So when you're putting on these t-shirts that are made for like people
Just a
that
Peach says, men's jeans don't have a cinched waist.
have shoulders that are like 3 head widths across, it's gonna feel awkward.
Yeah, Torrid is expensive, unfortunately. I haven't been able to shop there in a long time.
It makes it look frumpy, yeah.
Yeah, and they don't fit right, and it's just the clear as day. And it's especially awkward for women because I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on this, but I look at where I've lived in life, and it seems like there's tons of XX. There's not tons, but there's more XX women than there is XY quote unquote women around. So it's like the fact that
Well, that's interesting. See, Hans doesn't believe that.
XX women than there is XY quote unquote women. There's tons of XX. There's not tons, but there's more XX women than there is XY quote unquote.
Well, they
women.
do think that there are more cis people than trans people, which is different than what Hans believes, because Hans believes everyone virtually is trans, so it's slightly different.
Women around. So it's like the fact that all the things are catered to them is super awkward when like the majority is the opposite and just like kind of shrugging their shoulders. Or I think maybe some just go along with it and pretend they've got to. I think there's plenty of XX women that know and just pretend, or they're in on it.
What metric does he use? Vibes. It's just feeling. Vibes-based conspiracy on the bingo card.
And yeah, it's awkward. It's strange. So then just talking about some other weird things, like ballet is absolutely dominated by XY MTF males. Like, it's not that XX females couldn't do it, but they talk about lines, and you always think of like straight backs, straight proportions. And when I think of ballet, I think of some tiptoeing, very skinny person. I don't think of curves. And it's just the whole field that they'll say it's like
restrictions on that.
So it's like it's catered to them, and there's probably many women out there that have felt just awful being in ballet, not because they were particularly bad at ballet, just because everybody around them who was preferred over them happened to be XY, and it's not fair. But
basic t-shirts are men's cut, women have to look for other cuts. Yeah, do they not know that? Like, unisex tees generally just mean like men's cut tees. Like, I don't know, do people not know how clothes work? Like, you usually have to go out of your way to get women's cut t-shirts.
It's just telling.
I know this in part because, like, you guys know I'm into Blu-rays. A lot of the Blu-ray companies that I buy from have merchandise, but it tends to be a pretty male-dominated hobby, unfortunately. So, like, all of their shirts are, quote, unisex, but they're really men's cut shirts. Hannah mentions Blu-ray. Yes, that counts.
It's the same thing with figure skating.
Same thing with figure skating, an extension of ballet there. And then, interesting, just the stunted males, as you might expect, the stunted males, the ones given estrogen, XY, MTF, they don't perform as well as juiced up females. But if you were to just let them run without anything, I guarantee, I think of like, you know, you look at these like Hollywood couples, like the women, almost all of the XY, all of them could beat up their partners. The XY, MTF could beat up.
Okay, I think we've been going for 30 minutes just on their topic, and that's their time. That doesn't include our pauses. So we should probably call it on that video for today. Let's look at the bingo card. We'll revisit them again in the future. Flat Earth. The gay agenda. Vibes-based conspiracy. Doesn't understand their problem is capitalism. Hannah mentions Blu-rays. Ashley, can I see your card for the bingo? We did get That's Not How Women Work. Transphobia, transvestigation. Anything else? Give the prize away. Let me take a look at your card real quick. Word salad, incorrect. Word origin is evidence. Free space, poor understanding of Eastern philosophy. Transphobia, transvestigation. What was the word origin? That sounds familiar. I do believe it happened. I don't remember. What was the incorrect word origin is evidence? Does anyone remember? I feel like I remember it happening, but I don't recall. Yes, Bat Mitzvah Batman. Thank you. So, indeedly do. Ashley 1UP wins and wants me to gift the sub, so I will do. Let me gift that sub randomly real quick, and we'll get back to the tinfoil. I have the Never-Ending Story theme song stuck in my head. Never-ending story. Oh, Run Trip Fall one. How nice. Oh, it got stuck. I hate that. There we go. Let's try this one.
Everybody. The moon is a little gone right now, but the energy's a little calm, but there's a snowstorm coming to Texas in the south. Isn't that kind of strange? It's kind of weird. I've never really hear of Texas getting snow, Louisiana getting snow,
What are you talking about, man? Do you not remember a few years ago when it snowed in Texas and their power grid went down because their government's dog shit? You're gonna continue to see strange weather events. because of climate change. You've been warned about this for a century.
Mississippi getting snow. Definitely some weird things going on.
You know what's annoying is I always, like, even if the world ended, I think we all had this sort of idea that in the final moments of humanity, the people who fucked everything up would go, oh no, we were wrong all along! And there'd be some sort of catharsis in that, at least. Like, yeah, we all die, but at least they know they're wrong before they die. Turns out that's bullshit. Literally, we could all be dying of thirst in a desert, and none of them, they'll be like, the deep state did this to us. Like, there will be no catharsis, to be clear. Catharsis is canceled. It's only pain from here on out.
People might want to look up things about...
Oh, sorry, Just a Peach. Just a Peach said, you'll hurt your partner if you're overweight in ballet. Many dancers have been permanently disabled.
Weather modification in Texas. Something definitely to look into. There's a lot of associations people should look into. But the whole snow in Texas, and the snow in Louisiana, and the snow in Mississippi, something for people to look into, that's for sure. It's an interesting time. That's for sure. What's going on, everybody? Hello, hello. How are you? Happy Moon Day. What's going on? Big fan of yours. Where do you get the copper mug? This is a common question I get all the time. Where do you get these beautiful copper mugs? So you can look on eBay, or you can go to an antique store and find yourself a copper mug. And the reason I say to go on eBay or an antique store is because the older mugs are pure copper. Anytime you're looking for a copper cup, you want to take a magnet and make sure it does not stick to that cup. If it sticks to the cup, it's not copper. So this is just a simple trick that you can do when you're out looking for copper cups. Take a magnet, try to see if it sticks. If it sticks,
Is there a particular reason he wants a copper cup?
Buy it. If it doesn't stick, then it's probably copper. But pure copper, when drinking out it, will help elevate your energy, increase mental clarity.
Oh, total bullshit. Gotcha.
And get the stomach going. Because a lot of the times people's stomachs are just all backed up and blocked up, and copper helps get everything flowing and everything moving. This is why they used to have copper pipes in all the houses. Every house in America used to have copper pipes.
Sir, you believe the copper was used for its health benefits and not because it was a readily available, like, material that was able to be turned into pipes? Okay.
So DuPont plastic came along and started replacing all those pipes with plastic. But copper used to be everywhere. Copper is also really great at blocking radio frequencies. You know, all...
Does he think his water is getting poisoned by EMF? I wanna die.
All those towers they keep putting all over the place, copper is the solution to that.
Hey, motherfucker! I don't know if you know this! There's a hole at the top of your cup! You drink out of it! Fucking idiot! To be clear, the EMF thing he's concerned about is not a thing. But even if it was, your cup that you are claiming is being protected from the fucking 5G or whatever stupid made-up thing you're afraid of, there's a hole at the top you're drinking out of. So it would get in there. Everyone is so stupid. Everyone is so stupid, including me, and I hate it.
So if anybody pays you to get rid of your copper pipes, you could tell them, keep the check, because I'm going to keep the copper. But copper's pretty magical. One of the 7 sacred planets is Venus, and Venus is connected to copper.
I wish this man had been aborted. Okay, I'm moving on. I can't. Moving on!
In pictures, spiritual photography, spooky and creepy. Let me explain. Everything is a fraud, of course. Everything is editing photo editing, just like we have today in Photoshop. Imagine people from the 1800s.
Hannah struggling. Yeah, bad stuff's happening in the world. My tolerance is low.
In the 19th century, having access to Photoshop and Windows and the software we have today. They would believe everything. This thing started in the 19th century, 1850s, started in America, and it's pretty much, it's nothing more than editing the photos of those days, deliberately putting like people in front and behind glasses and like all sorts of like negative plates, and then you tweak just like the way you tweak today with the technology of then, and that's how you get all these translucent people or figures.
It's a double exposure. This is like an incredibly well-known thing.
Of people who are supposed to be not alive anymore, and this was like actually recognized as being effects in pictures by the London Stereoscopic Company, and it worked. I mean, there were people back in the day who would do anything and would believe anything. This technology of the pictures and the photos, even though it was really helpful, like it is today with Photoshop, to actually do good stuff, it can also be used to deceive and to make people who feel grief in paying money just to get pictures with their loved ones who are not alive anymore. And that's what happened with these pictures. There's this guy called William H. Mumler, American from the USA. He started his business in the 1860s, establishing a practice of spirit photography.
I wouldn't say doesn't understand how camera works. Right now, he's not. I think he said it was a double exposure. Like, I think he said that. We are playing bingo. Someone already won, though.
For like quite a while, for like 10 years. His first photograph was like the spirit of his cousin who died 12 years earlier. And again, he caused sensation in the public, in the media. He got lots of like clients and customers to pay heavy money because photography back in the 19th century was not something cheap. And in the end, he was trialed for fraud. He was charged, and the only reason he didn't go to jail, this was in 1869, is because there was evidence that one of the people who were like so-called spirits in one of the pictures was still alive, because the guy would employ people to put them in the pictures as translucent beings, and they were just like normal people who would get paid like actors, right? So yeah, everything is possible even with like the primitive technology. When this was popular in America in the 1850s and 60s, it became popular in Europe, especially in the UK and France, and in the 1870s, and it was the same thing. You know, people would take this technology to Europe, and religious people especially, and all the people who would want to get this type of like spooky, controversial, ghostly appearances, they would hire these photographers for their own purposes. And yeah, it's just a way of using people's feelings for your own benefit, right?
I don't understand what Nazi man is even taught. Like, why is he even bringing this up? I apologize. I thought he was going to think the photos are real. Bad.
Gonna do a quick video addressing the email and the picture of my 40th birthday cake that was used as evidence to prove I'm lying or that I'm a liar.
So this is that guy that Will Duffy called out for lying about when he became a flat earther, and he showed that a friend had contacted him by showing this guy's 40th birthday cake, which was a weed cake.
By Will Duffy and TFE. The email, you clearly heard him say during that conversation, Joe, I choose to believe this. I believe he said it several times. I choose to believe this. So he chose to believe an email that would not hold up in any court of law at all because...
Sir, I don't know why you keep bringing that up. We're not in a court of law. He's using abductive reasoning to make an assessment as to the likelihood of the email being true. And I think it's pretty reasonable. There was photos proving that the person who sent the email knew you.
It fit his bias towards me. And it allows him to try to discredit me which, again, wouldn't hold up in any court of law. But let's talk about
the fact that he keeps bringing that up is so damning, I think. He just won't shut up about that. Well, this wouldn't hold up in court. This wouldn't hold up in court. This wouldn't hold up in court. You're not in court. This isn't court. Doesn't matter. You can't get away with this on procedural grounds.
the email. He sent me the unredacted version, which honestly wasn't much different than the redacted version that he used during the conversation. A few little details. The interesting thing is about this email, the person who wrote the email, I have not seen since prior to 2004 on any regular basis at all.
But they saw you at your birthday party because they were there and took a picture of your cake. So you're even qualifying here on a regular basis. So you're agreeing that the person who wrote the email does know you, and you have seen them, and they were at your party. So...
Oh, as a matter of fact, since 2004, I may have seen this person 3 times for less than 5-6 hours total in those 3 times since prior to 2004. This person who wrote this email somewhere around 2021, which is the date that he said I became a flat earther in his email, or insinuated that I became a flat earther in his email around the time COVID started. He and I had a debate online and through Messenger.
So you had been talking to him. You see how he's contradicting everything?
He did not fare well in that debate, and it's obvious.
I argued with him about flat Earth in 2021, and he lost, so that's why he's slandering me.
That his ego was hurt by that, and you can see that just by reading the email. Anybody who reads this email knows that if you're close to somebody and you care about somebody, you don't write in the way this person wrote to a complete stranger about this person you supposedly are close to and care about.
I mean, you would if you thought that person was completely insane, had gone off the rails, and was now debating shit on the internet. If you thought it would help maybe snap you into reality and stop lying by talking to someone like Will Duffy about this, I don't think that's absurd. I think that makes sense.
That should be obvious to anyone. The email is a projection of someone else's insecurities onto another person that they haven't seen in 20 years. It's ridiculous.
Except you have seen them and talked to them. You've admitted that already.
It's sad.
Like, you see how he keeps trying to, like, admit he's seen them and talked to them and then go, I haven't seen them in 20 years. It can't be both.
It's heartbreaking, to say the least. Did I know this person? Yes, I did know this person. Were they close to my brother? Yes, they were close to my brother from like middle school until just after high school, and that's about it. So maybe a decade or so, maybe a little over a decade.
I find it interesting, too, that you're framing them as a friend of your brother. Does that not imply to you that even if they haven't talked to you directly lately, they're probably in contact with your brother, and your brother might talk to him about you because he's worried about you? Because you've gone insane?
But again, haven't seen this person, interacted with this person. They know nothing about my life, my personal life, in over 20 years. That addresses the email. He then used a picture of my birthday cake from my 40th birthday party that my mom had made. My mom threw my 40th birthday party for me. She had that birthday cake made. South Carolina.
For the last time, Will Duffy admitted that he also partakes of weed. The fact that your cake was a weed cake is not the criticism. The picture of the cake was to show that the person who sent the email knows you because they were at your 40th birthday party. It's funny that it was a weed cake. Like, it's a little like, tee-hee, that's kind of immature. It's funny that for your 40th birthday, you had this fucking, like, reggae ganja cake. It's funny, but that's not a criticism. It's just to show that the person who sent the email with the photo knows you because they were at your birthday party.
Carolina was looking at legislation for medical cannabis at the time. It was kind of big in the news and just amongst people who are really pushing for
I could not care less about this man's hang up about his own weed usage.
They had to demonize natural medicines in order to create data and contact somewhat over the years. Now, there were a lot of people there that are very close to me as well. Anyway, the picture of the birthday cake was used deceptively by Duffy to insinuate that the person who wrote the email was actually at my birthday party. Now,
that seems to be the implication. If it's not, then explain.
Whether this person who wrote the email sent him the picture of my birthday cake or not, I do not know that.
He said he did. You weren't even paying attention in the conversation. That was the point of the picture, was to show he knows you.
What I do know is the person who wrote the email was not at my birthday party. They pulled the picture of if they sent it to Will, they pulled it from my Facebook and used it to deceive Will as well.
It was not a med-themed cake in any way. Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know what the cake looks like, I'm gonna pull it up. It doesn't matter, but I find it a little funny that he's trying to equivocate on this and be like, oh, it's medical. Again, I do not care that the man smokes weed. I think that's fine. I literally have no opinion on it. But I do find it a little funny how upset he is that, like, people are pointing it out.
Models, guess what?
Let's get
They
to
had never
that
been to
cake.
Antarctica. We had never been to Antarctica. The 24-hour supported.
There's the cake. There's your medical marijuana cake. Again, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. But you're really trying to be like, oh, it's all about the medical, it's the medicinal. Just a Peach says that was not, oh yeah, I just read that. Sorry, that's what got me to do this. Funny cake, it's fine. Fine that you're a stoner, my guy. Not the issue.
So I'm giving you an out here, Will. That person who wrote the email used that picture from my Facebook to deceive Will to make it seem like he was closer to me than he actually is. Or the other option is Will pulled that from my Facebook, or Will had someone pull that from my Facebook and intentionally, deceptively used it.
Yeah, I don't think Will would do that. I also don't know if it's even on his Facebook publicly.
Try to correlate the person who wrote the email with someone who was at my birthday party, which in fact was not. So those are the two scenarios in which this birthday cake picture was used. Either it was maliciously used by the person who wrote the email to give credence to his false email and his credibility as someone close to me, or it was nefariously used by Will Duffy to deceive people to believe the person that sent him this email was actually close to me. Either way, very bad situation for both. The evidence was not evidence. It was a very weak attempt to discredit me as a liar based on false witness. So Will, you may try to defend the fact that you claim scripture doesn't say it's wrong, morally wrong to lie or deceive, but you do claim to bear false witness is wrong, if I'm correct by your summary that is going around on the internet of I think it was a 4-part sermon.
I should point out the thing in the background, if you don't know, this is his, like, model of the flat earth he's working on. And by model, I mean literally a model, not mathematical model, like a literal, like, miniature. Trying to use it to prove flat earth.
and you bore false witness, and I believe you did so intentionally. I believe that's who you are right now. Do I pray that you change? Yes, I do. Actually, and I mean that sincerely, but what you are not is someone who doesn't know what he's doing when he does something like that. You knew very well what you were doing, why you were doing it, and the reasons behind using not only a false witness testimony.
Not a false witness testimony. Salty bitch. Alright, let's move on.
To have open contact and start being introduced to these beings within the next 5 years at the outside. It's imminent. It's imminent. We're right on the cusp, and they will reintroduce themselves to our society now that we have evolved. We may start seeing more ships. They may actually sort of put themselves in certain positions and hold themselves there, so we get used to the idea. One of the gifts that I've been told they will be giving us when we have open contact is holographic representations of our complete history. So I'm very excited about that. They would literally be able to show us holographic representations of Atlantis, of, dinosaurs, of all these things.
The two historical things, Atlantis and dinosaurs, in that order.
Oh my, oh my. This is just getting more and more exciting. Do you want to cultivate a deeper sense of self-love?
No, I want to cultivate my sense of self-hate.
Then I have a self-love toolkit for you where I help you boost your self-love. Head over to wisdomfromnorth.com.
Shilling scamming on the bingo card.
.com/self-love tips. Daryl Anka, a warm welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm really excited about having you on the show. I've been following you and watching you for years, and you are the channeler of Bashar.
Mostly through your window.
Bashar, who is an extraterrestrial energy or being from the future. And you've been channeling him for quite some time, for around 40 years.
Yes, 40 years.
Yeah, and the Bashar material has been known and said to be one of the most compelling and relevant and dynamic information delivered to this planet to this date. And you are also a director, film producer, doing so much more. And to me, Bashar is really having a teaching that's so self-empowering and powerful teaching. And I'm really curious to hear more about that today, and especially his perspective on the shift of consciousness.
Okay.
Now, before we dive into all of that, for those who are new to you, I assume many in my audience know who you are, but those who are new to you, could you share a little bit about your work and who Bashar is?
All right. Well, this all began for me 50 years ago when I had 2 broad daylight UFO sightings here over Los Angeles, which started me investigating all sorts of stuff having to do
UFOs over Hollywood. That's a new one.
With UFOs and metaphysical phenomena. So many years after the sightings, I was introduced to a channel who was conducting seminars. The entity coming through that channel offered to teach a channeling class. I went into it not thinking I was going to be a channel, but I just wanted to understand how channeling could be taught. So during the class, which was a series of guided meditations to get you in touch with whatever you wanted, you could be your own creativity, your own higher mind. But I received what I can only describe as a telepathic communication and connection from Bashar.
Could you try to describe it a different way that's less crazy?
that allowed me to experience within a split second a memory of having made an agreement to do this before this life, and understanding that the UFO had been shown to me to get me to start moving forward and doing the research I needed to do, so that when it came time to do the channeling, I would be somewhat prepared. And while all this was going on in my head, I didn't say anything. This happened in literally a split second. The entity coming through the channel teaching the class stopped talking and turned to me and said, "There's an entity here for you right now, if you're ready." You know, people being led to different places by mysterious phenomena, like, you know, pillars of light and things like that. So I think that then after a time, when they realized that we could create our own civilization, they sort of left us to our own devices. They were always watching. But
okay, this guy's boring me.
Everyone's asking about the drones and what's going on in the world.
Probably getting close to the end of the stream, by the way, just letting everyone know. We'll probably be wrapping up soon.
Right now, if you go back and research whenever people have said UFOs have come about, you'd remember that it's always around when there's something on the planet going on that may have an effect on other beings that live in it.
I'm sorry, the beginning of the Cold War? Sir, the Cold War lasted the entire of the second half of the 20th century, virtually. So any alien thing during that time is attributable to it? Come on now. This is like the wars and rumors of wars thing. That's just all the time.
Because we keep explaining to people that there are many extraterrestrial beings.
Dinosaur, thank you for gifting 10 tier 1 subs. I appreciate it. Appreciate it a lot.
I've been living on this planet from the get-go, from the jump. So you have beings that are living underwater, you have beings that live in the
uses AI on the bingo card.
Skies, and you have beings that walk amongst us. You have beings that live in the caverns, or Shambhala, what people call the inner world, the subterranean world. And over time, many people have given accounts. And what you've got to realize is that Pana Babyanun, Dr. Malachi Z. York, his sister has written a book called My Brother the Extraterrestrial. Unlike many people on the planet, from the jump, he came saying he's not from here, that he's an extraterrestrial from the planet Risk in the galaxy known as Ilion, which is the 19th galaxy.
He's Yanun. He's known by many names.
What do you mean the 19th galaxy? In what series? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean the 19th? Starting from what? What's the list? What do you mean 19? The 19th? How, like, what? Alphabetically? Like, how are we organizing them? There's a lot of galaxies. Why does this one get to be 19?
Its leader is identified in literature as Malachi Zodok York, the Supreme Grand Master. He is described as a charismatic speaker and apparently a prolific writer, producing monthly newsletters and dozens of books.
He says that he is from the 8th planet in the 19th galaxy of Ilion, a universe far outside of this one.
We are in the 18th galaxy, which is next door. From the jump, he was
we're 18. That's not bad.
Books like
we got in the first 20. That's pretty good. Hey, that's pretty good.
God and Extraterrestrial, Extraterrestrials and Creation, Mystery Clouds, are there UFOs in our midst? So many titles dealing with extraterrestrial. He was the first to really go into the details about the Bible stories being stories about extraterrestrials, all the way from, you know, what people call the Old Testament to the New Testament to the Book of Revelations. With the Book of Revelations talking about the Crystal City, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was talking about the Mother Plane. The Book of Daniels is talking about crafts, the cloud that the children of Israelite were following, the wise men following the star to Jesus' birth, according to the Bible, Ezekiel's will. There's so many incidences throughout what people are calling the Bible and the Quran where these beings are being referred to.
The universe is organized via Watch Mojo lists, counting down to number 19.
As angels, and they come and they go. When people say they're coming from heaven and coming here and going back, even in the case of who you're calling Jesus, who was supposed to have been taken.
Who you're calling Jesus? What's his alien name? I want to know Jesus' alien name.
Up. You have Job or Enoch that was taken up. Even in the Quran with Muhammad riding what is described like a donkey known as the Burak, and he went to the 7 heavens and came back. So these are just different accounts that have been speaking about extraterrestrials. And of course, everyone's talking about the Anunnaki and the Nibiru. You also have the planet that is referred to as Rilo 7 or Planet X. These are things, all the things we give you. Remember, in Wusabat, we say, don't believe us, check it out. You have beings like Val Thor that came down here and spoke to President Eisenhower.
I don't even have the energy or wherewithal to tell if that's a joke or not, Jiva Hawk, so I'm just going to ignore it and pretend I didn't read that and deal with it later.
Back in the 40s, Stalin, I can't pronounce his name, but he built Coral Castle. Go and research Coral Castle, you see that he was able to move huge stones and build, and people didn't see when he was doing it because he would work at night and so on and so forth. Elvis, associated from coming from Venus. You have...
Oh, of course, famously, everyone knows the king came from Venus.
Jimi Hendrix. There are many, many beings. President Carter, who just passed away. Remember, he just passed away at 100 years old, and he was an intercessor or an ambassador that was dealing with peace. And when extraterrestrial first showed up on the, Washington, if you go back and look at the White House, just Google things about aliens or extraterrestrial crafts that appeared in the White House. I'm saying all this to say that, so now we're in a day and time where everyone is seeing these orbs. I'm going to go into some information that has been shared with us from Pana Babylon, the master teacher, because there's no one on the planet that has been speaking about this subject as much as he has. And coming here from the jump saying, I'm an extraterrestrial from the planet Risk. And that was like going back to the 60s, 62, 63, 70s, 80s, 90s. And now 2000 and 2025, we're in. So a lot of people over time, even the US government now, have done disclosure, which I will touch on. So what we're basically saying is that what's going on now, if you go back in history and look at what happens, it's normally when there's a problem and the beings that live here, they're also concerned. So if you look at the climate today in terms of what's going on, the same thing happened with Nagasaki and Hiroshima. This was when atomic weapons were used for the first time, and it was threatening destroying the planet.
I used to see Robert Oppenheimer.
That Robert Oppenheimer, and mastermind of the atomic bomb. Padilla grew up in San Antonio, New Mexico, some 13 miles from where the bomb was first tested in 1945. The glow of a
thank fuck about the Trump youth thing.
mushroom cloud could be spotted
I just can't. Can we agree to not make jokes about things being worse than they are? Like, I know things are bad, but I seriously cannot handle people coming in here and dropping shit like it's real, that's not, that's terrible. Please don't do that.
to 150 miles away.
He's knocking to the ground.
A month later, Jose and a playmate were riding on his father's ranch and heard another boom.
I told my friend, it must be another test from the bomb. And he says, no, it's not a bomb. Look at the smoke coming out of the ground.
It appeared to be coming from an avocado-shaped aircraft. This is an artist rendering.
All of a sudden, 3 little, I would say kids, got up at it. They were kind of sashaying and running around in circles.
He says they resembled extraterrestrials he's since seen in the movies.
And these extraterrestrials will step in. And this is why they appeared over the White House back then. And this is what's happening again today. Why? Because we're living in a day and time where there's rumors of wars, right? We're at the point where they're seeing that
every time in human history there are wars or rumors of wars. I'm begging you to stop with this shit. I need literally anything as a cleanse before I end tonight. I am not doing good. Jesus Christ. We'll do some psychic fails. James Randi.
And the ones that were...
James Randi was incredible. We need more James Randis in the world, and fewer of whatever's going on now. Guys, the encyclopedia... Okay, the encyclopedia's not scamming people for money, are they, man?
Would you welcome, please, Uri Geller.
Oh, this is the classic Uri Geller one.
Johnny had been a magician himself and was skeptical. I was asked to help prevent any trickery.
Nice to see you.
Thanks.
We We have only met...
This scares me.
This scares you? Well, we just got some things together here. And
I told them to provide their own props and not to let Geller or his people anywhere near them.
Also, one of our staff members did some drawings which have been sealed in an envelope, and I'd like you to take your own pace when you feel like you want to try anything.
Right.
Do you want to try that particular experiment first?
When I'll feel free.
Yeah, I think the guy that blows on the pages is next.
Sure.
We'll start eliminating the ones that do not have the water.
All right, without touching them.
He is really suspicious, you know. I'm having a hard time with you.
Okay, I don't mean to be, Yuri. I really don't.
Just keep looking.
He's supposed to find which one has water in it, I believe, psychically. Of course, he cannot, because psychic ability isn't real.
Okay, let me rest a little, all right?
All right.
You know, I'm surprised because before this program, your producer came and he read me at least 40 questions you're going to ask me.
Well, I can ask you all kinds of questions if you'd like me to ask you questions.
I have to have time, and
I have to have time. Commercial break, and then they're back.
Your Uri was telling me you don't feel what, strong tonight?
I don't
Is that
feel strong. It's not all tonight. Right now, I'm feeling being pressed, and then I can't.
Well, I'm not trying to press you. I really not.
No, you're only telling me, well, will you try that or that?
Well, I thought that was the idea of...
If psychic abilities aren't real, how did you know I would say that? I'm very predictable. You could probably do a whole imaginary stream in your head and imagine what I would say. You don't need me here at all. I'm perfunctory.
No, I'm not trying to put you down.
James turned the page of a telephone directory without touching it. And you claim to have done that with psychic power.
Yes.
Yeah, he was using basically wind to do this, and Randy came up with a way to prove that he was using wind, and that was to scatter basically paper all around. So if he used wind, of course, all the paper would go flying.
Now, you're prepared to demonstrate your psychic powers again. You've warmed up. You're ready to go, are you, James? Very well. Oh, James, you are prepared to pay him $10,000 if he can turn the page of the telephone directory with certain controls.
That's right.
You have the $10,000, do you, Randy?
I do indeed. Now what I have here is particles of a white plastic, which when given a good heavy puff of air, will, I think, rather conclusively show whether or not blowing is the method accomplished. Now, it will not, perhaps, in some way differentiate between genuine psychic power and actual blowing, but it certainly should be very interesting indeed to see what now occurs.
James?
Ready.
You can tell he's really thinking to himself, too, like, how the fuck do I do this? How the fuck do I do this? His excuse after this was very stupid, too. Also, am I crazy, or did it turn out that this guy was, I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it without knowing, but one of these guys that Randy debunked, I believe, turned out to be a creep towards children.
How many times am I going to have to do this? Once?
This time.
How many pages?
Just one page, once.
Like
okay.
that.
The styrofoam and the lights form electricity which pulls the page. Look. It pulls the page down instead of freeing the pages.
All right, and what would you like to ask us to ask Randy to allow you to do or for me to do?
To either take something else, either lighter or...
No, that's not what I'm thinking of, Lady Anne.
Something that is going to keep, that isn't going to form like static electricity.
You mean put something else, some other material around
Something
here?
that is not foam. Foam causes static electricity, and the light is what heats it up.
All right, Randy, is there anything else that you can put around the telephone directory?
I've heard the question, but the question is not valid because it's making an assumption which is not true. The foam does not in any way create static electricity, and Mr. Hydrake, in demonstrating that the pages were clinging together, didn't demonstrate it to my satisfaction. I think we could perhaps ask the judges for their opinion on that. I am not a scientist, so I'm not qualified to declare on it.
Judges?
Whatever static electricity exists in the styrofoam would not really affect the movement of the page or the clinging of the pages together, in my opinion.
I would add that if this
It was
is
this guy that got in trouble because of children.
Like
Sentenced to 17 years. Yikes.
functioning, I don't really see why that would make a difference.
Very well. Randy, would you allow me to turn perhaps half dozen pages and then put them back?
Oh, yes, you may do that, please.
James? I'll just lift up 1, 2. Be helpful to you?
The static is going to still be here because of the foam. See, that's
Why is he
It is
claiming
the
the
opinion of
foam
the judges that there's
existing?
not enough static formed by the foam to be a problem. So, under the conditions agreed upon, it would seem that now you should at least try with psychic power to turn the page of the telephone directory, James.
Okay.
Smile too, like he knows he can't do it. He knows he can't do it. He's a scam artist.
It's not going to
How
turn for you?
embarrassing.
Well, have you reached the point then when...
Wasn't he trying to rip off Bruce Lee's look? It would not surprise me. Bruce exploitation was a big thing. People trying to look like, act like, give the vibe of Bruce Lee. Yeah, that was a big thing.
At which we can declare the demonstration terminated?
This isn't a magician's trick. I can't just come up, bang, bang, and it's over. I have to be to where I can work with something small and then big, you know, to build up my own self. So this
Well,
is, you know, it isn't a trick. It has to be done, you know, this is just, it's power. It's mental power.
The conditions agreed upon have been fulfilled.
Bob, the comment very briefly is that I have gone through many hundreds of these tests with many hundreds of people who claim to have psychic powers. And quite frankly, it's more or less the same story every time. When a simple, direct, very uncomplicated protocol is used and the control is applied, the psychic forces don't seem to be present, if indeed they are ever present at all.
Clive, you've agreed to attempt to find a piece of zinc.
It goes on. There's a lot of these. This was what Randy did. A lot of his career was debunking people. Good guy. Alright, let's see who we're gonna raid on Twitch. Thank you everyone for hanging out today. I really appreciate it. Glad to have another Tinfoil Tuesday with y'all. Let's see.
I've also got a case of the beans.
Dan hasn't been streaming in a while. We'll raid him. I'll be back tomorrow. Not sure exactly what we'll be doing, but it'll be something fun. Oh, Lance with 100 bits says, for those that have never seen a phone book, the pages are printed on a very lightweight newsprint, similar to how Bibles are printed these days, very susceptible to wind and not so much to static. Yeah, very true. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night, everyone. Yeah. See you then. Bye, everyone.